Part 104. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 1032. The whole dormitory suddenly fell silent. Bian Suiyan opened her eyes wide. Zhuang Jiao's expression changed even more. Who are you talking to? Huh, on the phone screen, Si raised his eyebrows. Your roommate? Who is so powerful that Wei Xiaobai can't stay in Xia University. As a special recruit and got a very high score in the special exam, Xia University attaches great importance to Bai Jinyu. She said her name was Zhuang Jiao. Bai Jinyu held her chin. Juju, you haven't even told me about the dealer. Broker, Si thought about it seriously. Oh, I haven't heard of it. I'll go back and check it out. You wait for my news. Whoever makes you unable to get along in Xia University, you just let her get along too. If something goes wrong, I'll take care of it for you. Bai Jinyu obediently. Okay, I'll listen to Juju. Zhuang Jiao snorted coldly. Bai Jinyu, I didn't expect you to have such a strong vanity, and you even found someone to pretend to be Si. What level of person is Si? Do you think you can know her? Number one in the world can't be offended, it's undoubtedly Si. If there were people who looked down on her as an actor before, and mocked her for only playing games. But after the identity of the chief executive of T18 was exposed, these people dared not even say a word. Si, a walking search machine. Even transnational criminals dare not fart in front of her. In fact, Zhuang Jiao only met Si from a distance at a celebrity charity dinner, but she didn't succeed in getting close. But she could at least see Si. Bai Jinyu and Bian Suiyan were just two ordinary summer college students. What qualifications did she have to compare with her? Bai Jinyu pressed the phone off and said without raising her head, she said slowly, shake your brains before you speak. Her voice was low and soft, but her momentum did not drop in the slightest. Bian Suiyan poked her head from the upper bunk and gave a thumbs up. It's scolding. Zhuang Jiao was so angry that her face turned green. You wait for me. She couldn't stay in the dormitory any longer, and angrily slammed the door and left. Jinyu, good scolding. Bian Suiyan snorted. I can't understand her acting like a young lady, but was it really Si just now? It's not that she doesn't believe it, it's just that it's too incredible. Yeah, Bai Jinyu blinked. Isn't there a promotional meeting for the crew of Changxian in a few days? I'll take you to see it. Bian Suiyan let out a cheer. Thank you, Jinyu. With a ding, a message came in. Si, don't worry about the dealer. Next time she wants to bully you, just ask me to talk to her. Bai Jinyu, Juju, it's okay, I can solve it, so I won't show it to her. If you don't believe it, she will say, Juju, you were synthesized by me with AI. Si, smart, I've been worried that you will be wronged, but you've done a good job. Bai Jinyu took a photo of her fist and sent it over. Bai Jinyu, I have this thing. Si, alright, boy, I'm free today, and I'll take you to play games and sign up. Bai Jinyu's eyes lit up, she happily turned on the computer, put on the earphones, and logged into Oracle. Her account has only been created for a few days, and its level is only 40. In the next second, a swordsman appeared on the screen, instantly attracting the attention of other people around him. It's 9 God, come on, take a photo. God 9 brought a girl again today, wouldn't Jushin be jealous? On who is more offensive, the 9 God or the 9 gods? I am the 9 God, or the handsome swordsman. You all say Chief Yu and Ching Ching are a match, but I still think that the eternal God of double 9, 9 gods, if you don't show up, your wife will be snatched away. Nonsense, Chief Yu Saijao. Si retired for 3 years, but Oracle developed extremely well, but in these 3 years, not only did Si not appear, but the 9 gods also remained silent. Coupled with some previous news, netizens believe that the two have already lived together. The CP parties on both sides quarreled like fire and water. Wait a minute, did you notice, the ID of the girl 9 brought? Deduct 1 and I'll kiss you, isn't this the one chatting with Brother Xie? Ha 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 ha, it's no wonder that Brother Xie was embarrassed, it turned out to be Kinking's person. Brother Xie is all about kissing, and my sister is all about getting points, alas, it's too miserable to say it. Xiaoyu just came out of the bathroom and was wiping his head with a towel. He clicked on the phone with his free hand, and habitually looked at the WeChat dialog box on the top. There is no news. But Bai Jinyu's personality signature has changed. Man, it will only affect my speed of playing games, back off. Xiaoyu. He put down his phone in silence, then opened Oracle calmly, created a new female account, and sent a friend request to Bai Jinyu. Bai Jinyu passed quickly. Xiaoyu squinted his eyes, and typed a sentence slowly. Sister, do you want to play games together? I'm weak and want you to take me. Deduct 1 and I'll kiss you, let's come together. Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows and replied yes. Little girl, she is really easy to deceive. In a blink of an eye, half of the military training has passed. After the basic formation training, the students reformed a new square formation, including military boxing, dagger technique, fighting capture and so on. Jinyu, I'm going to buy some iced coke. Bien Suiyan waved at Bai Jinyu, just wait for me in the dormitory. Okay, Bai Jinyu nodded, I'll wait for you. Zhuang Jiao had already moved out to a one-person apartment, and she was the only one left in the dormitory. Bai Jinyu stretched, and when she was about to move her shoulders, she suddenly felt a little hot in her abdomen. The next second, with a bang, the dormitory suddenly became a giant in her eyes. Bai Jinyu was dumbfounded. She raised her hands, paws to be precise, fluffy white, very pretty. But no matter how good looking it is, this is also a dog's paw. How did she suddenly become a dog? Could it be that she was too tired from the military training these days and had hallucinations? Bai Jinyu pinched herself desperately with her paw, and she groaned in pain, tears streaming down her eyes, but she was still a dog. I'm not dreaming, what's going on here? Bai Jinyu circled around in the dormitory, but nothing changed. She scratched the floor impatiently. Jinyu? Jinyu, at this time, Bien Suiyan's voice came from outside the door, I bought you the orange juice you like to drink. The door was pushed open, and Bai Jinyu's hair exploded. Huh? Jinyu isn't in the dormitory. Bien Suiyan looked around and muttered in confusion, where did you go? Why didn't you even bring your mobile phone with you? Nothing will happen. Bai Jinyu, oh. She is here. Just turned into a puppy. What sound? Bien Suiyan looked for the sound suspiciously, and finally found a ball of fluff under the table. Wow, what a cute puppy. She knelt down and poked the puppy's head. Where did you come from? Is there an owner? Have you seen my roommate? She is as cute as you. Bai Jinyu groaned. She is. Little Bibai, I like you so much, but it's a pity we can't keep dogs in our dormitory. Bien Suiyan slapped his forehead. Shall I build you a kennel downstairs? Do you eat ham? I'll go buy some for you. Bai Jinyu shook her head desperately. Ah. She doesn't want to go. I really can't raise you, but I will come to see you every day. Bien Suiyan picked her up. There are a lot of seniors and sisters in school, you must get along well with them on campus. There are many cats and dogs in Xia University. With the insistence of feeding each class of students, they are all raised for nothing. Bai Jinyu usually feeds her when she meets her. Several cats were overfed and greedy, and a sign was erected in front of the cat litter, which read, I am trying to lose weight, please do not feed them. Little Bibai, be good. Bien Suiyan carried her out of the dormitory and put her in the grass. I'll buy you ham right away. Bai Jinyu raised her paw and lay down on the grass very sadly. Will she not be able to regain her human body? Turning into a dog, What is this called? There were people coming and going in front of the dormitory building, but because Baijinyu was only the size of a palm and was hiding in the grass, not many people saw it. Until Xiaoyu and Su Ziun passed by the girls' dormitory building one after the other. Xiaoyu suddenly stopped, looked aside purposefully, and then walked towards the grass. Baijinyu was sick and didn't look up. Brother Xie, Su Ziun also saw it, and he was surprised. Is this Mr. C's dog? It looks like it and doesn't look like it. Whose dog is this? Baijinyu heard it, and grinned. Ah! She is not a dog, she is a little girl. Su Ziun squatted down, trying to pick up the puppy, but Xiaoyu grabbed his shoulder and lifted it aside. Su Ziun was shocked. Brother Xie, hello. Xiaoyu bent down, picked her up casually, and put her on his shoulder. Well, mine, she doesn't like being touched by others. But it's exactly the same as teacher sees. Su Ziun leaned over, the eyes are purple. Wow, brother Xie, do you remember that junior sister Bai, who was a freshman, also had purple eyes? Baijinyu suddenly became vigilant. Just when she was about to greet Su Ziun's face with her paw, Xiaoyu reached out and pushed Su Ziun's head away. Don't get so close, he said in a leisurely tone. I'm a clean freak, and I'm going back to the dormitory. You can go. Su Ziun held his head and was stunned for a moment. But brother Xie, we just came out of the dormitory. Xiaoyu didn't respond, and carried Baijinyu back to the one-person apartment, then put her on the carpet. In half an hour, Baijinyu had already decided that she had indeed turned into a dog, and she didn't know how to change back, so she could only temporarily accept it. She looked at herself in the mirror, and then turned around. She didn't know what she saw, and suddenly she was stunned. After a few seconds, she raised her paw, covered her eyes, and cried very sadly. It's fine if she turns into a little white dog, but she doesn't even have a butt? Then isn't she a disabled dog? Baijinyu was very sad, the whole dog was ashes. I'll go out for a while, and I'll be back later. Xiaoyu bent down and rubbed her head. What do you want to eat? Baijinyu was still crying aggrievedly, shedding tears, ignoring him at all. Little crying bag. Xiaoyu gave a low laugh. So small and so capable of crying, are you a jellyfish? When Baijinyu heard this, she cried even louder. He's still taunting her. There is no conscience, only a black heart. Xiaoyu said again, if you cry again and your eyes become swollen, you will become ugly. Oh! Baijinyu stopped crying, she raised her head and stared blankly at Xiaoyu, her big purple eyes were still full of mist. Even if she becomes a dog, she is still the cutest one. Xiaoyu rubbed her head, and then specially picked up a tissue to wipe away her tears. Good boy, I'll be back soon. Baijinyu looked at him sullenly. The big bad guy was so gentle with the dog and ended up bullying her all the time. When she recovers, she will never talk to him. 10 minutes later, Xiaoyu left and returned. He bought a small fried yellow beef and a rice. Baijinyu's eyes lit up, it was her favorite dish. She ran forward slowly and hugged the bowl. Eat slowly, no one will grab you. Xiaoyu couldn't help laughing, but you are so young, can you finish this? Baijinyu snorted. Underestimate her, she is very good at eating. Next is the dry rice with wind and clouds. In 10 minutes, she finished a whole serving of fried yellow beef and rice. Rolling comfortably on the carpet, Baijinyu suddenly felt that being a dog is quite comfortable sometimes. Xiaoyu picked her up again and picked up the comb to comb her hair. He moved his eyes to her tail and found that the fur was intact, and the eyelashes moved slightly. Fortunately, this time she was fine. It's 11 o'clock. Xiaoyu lowered his head, it's time to go to bed. Baijinyu yawned lazily and responded. She didn't wait for Xiaoyu to say anything, she jumped onto the bed by herself. She doesn't care, she's going to bed. It's so cold on the table, where is the bed comfortable? The beds in the single-person dormitory are indeed more comfortable than the four-person dormitory for undergraduates, but she can't bear being swayin', and the life in the multi-person dormitory is also very good. Baijinyu lay on the other side of the pillow, looking at Xiaoyu proudly. She has taken over the bed. Xiaoyu just raised his eyebrows and didn't say anything. He wasn't cruel enough to let her sleep on a cold table. You sleep inside. Xiaoyu stretched out his hand and lifted her to his right side. I'm afraid you will fall down in a while. Baijinyu snorted. She is not that stupid. As the night deepened bit by bit, Xiaoyu also fell asleep. He was quiet when he was asleep, breathing evenly. Baijinyu glanced at him secretly, holding her little head to admire his appearance. After an unknown amount of time, sleepiness finally welled up. She yawned and was about to fall asleep. And at this moment, Baijinyu felt the familiar feeling of fever again. Before she could react, there was another bang in her body. Feeling familiar limbs, she knew she had returned to human form. Baijinyu was expressionless. Is she dressed? Of course she didn't. As if feeling the approach of the heat source, the sleeping Xiaoyu turned around, raised his hand subconsciously, and hugged the person beside him. Very clear to the touch. The next second, he suddenly opened his eyes. Xiaoyu. Heavenly wife. It's the end of the month, so please vote. Just a dozen or so votes to break the 1,000. If there is no accident, the episode will end at the end of May, but the accident is that I may not be able to stand it. QWQ. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1033. It was already dark at this time, but Xiaoyu, as a transcendent A-grade evolutionary, a peak powerhouse in the holy land of the eternal continent, this bit of darkness was nothing to him at all. He could clearly see another person on his single bed. Baijinyu was obviously also confused, and the two looked at each other. In the darkness, her pair of lavender pupils were very beautiful, as if there was a stream in the starry sky, and she was staring at him blankly. Xiaoyu's eyes widened in an instant, and his mind was shaken at this moment. Rao had always been as sloppy as he was, and was at a loss for a while. Neither of them had ever seen such a scene. In the end, it was Baijinyu who spoke, stammering, "You, take your hands away quickly." As if waking up from a dream, Xiaoyu quickly retracted his hand, immediately got out of bed and turned to face the wardrobe. He shook his hand, and there was still a gentle and delicate touch left in his hand. Baijinyu's face was hot, her ears were so red that they were bleeding, and she began to hypnotize herself. She was covered with a quilt, and he didn't see anything. After calming down for a while, Baijinyu decided to sue the villain first. She fiercely wrapped herself in the quilt, only revealing a pair of eyes. "Why am I in your bed?" Xiaoyu fell silent. Although she has turned into a Pixiu, it is impossible for him to let her sleep on the floor, so he will naturally put her on the bed. When she followed him before, although she said she didn't share the same bed, she would often sleep in his arms. But the human body is still different from the Pixiu form. When he was in Pixiu form, he and her had such close contact, neither of them noticed anything wrong. But once in human form, he must treat her as a complete person, even if she doesn't realize it, he must respect her. It's just that she changed so suddenly today that he didn't even have time to prepare. Xiaoyu still turned his back to her and said nothing. Upon closer inspection, one could notice that his arm was trembling slightly. Xiaoyu's hand paused, took out a clean shirt from the closet, and handed it to her with a hoarse voice. "Just put it on first, I will prepare some girls' clothes in the future." Baijinyu's face turned red, and she immediately pulled the shirt out of his hand. "Then you are not allowed to look at it, you are a dog." In the dark night, the tips of Xiaoyu's ears were slightly red. He raised his head slightly, lowered his eyelashes, and replied casually, "I don't want to look." Baijinyu was relieved now. The men's shirt was large enough to double as a skirt for her. There is a very light velvet rose fragrance on it, which spread slowly. Bai Jinyu was slightly startled, and suddenly felt that this breath was very familiar. But in such a scene, she didn't have time to capture this familiarity, and started to put on her shirt in a hurry. In the silent night, the sound of rubbing clothes and the rustle of dressing is pervasive. For the first time, Xiaoyu didn't want him to have such good hearing. Even his imagination is not bad. Get dressed. Bai Jinyu rolled up her sleeves and muttered, "You can turn around now." Xiaoyu hummed lightly, paused for another dozen seconds, and then turned around. The shirt hung down until it covered her knees, revealing her slender calves with perfect lines. A faint moonlight shone in from outside the balcony, and it fell on the girl's hair, dyeing it with a thin layer of silver light. Her purple pupils were always clear and ignorant, like an elk that suddenly broke into the crowd, looking at the world curiously. Xiaoyu's eyes darkened. "You're so tall." Bai Jinyu didn't realize anything. She stretched out her hand and gestured, "You should be over 1.85 meters, no wonder this shirt is so big. Hey, what's wrong with you?" Before she finished speaking, she saw Xiaoyu turn around again. He put his hand on his forehead and sighed deeply. What a mistake. He didn't expect that after wearing this dress for her, the effect would be even worse. Xiaoyu thought for 2 seconds, then turned around suddenly, then strode forward, wrapping the girl up in a quilt. He patted on the quilt again, with a calm expression, "It's cold, don't catch a cold." Bai Jinyu, who was wrapped into a rice dumpling. "She is angry. I'm going back to the dormitory." Bai Jinyu was angry. "Why are you wrapping me up? I can't even walk. It's 2 o'clock now, and your dormitory is closed. I can take you back, but it will definitely alarm the dormitory management." Xiaoyu said slowly, "You can rest here and go back at 6:30. There is military training." When Bai Jinyu heard it, she thought it made sense. Xiaoyu's popularity in domestic entertainment is second only to Sci-fi and Su Yang, and he has a lot of fans. If she was photographed with him, it would cause quite a bit of trouble. Bai Jinyu gave a small "oh" and hesitated, then do you have any extra quilts? I'll sleep on the floor. I'm sorry to take your bed." Xiaoyu propped his chin and raised his eyebrows. He sat on the chair, crossed his long legs, leaned back, with a smile on his lips, meaning unclear, "In your eyes, am I such an ungentleman?" It's okay not to mention it, but Bai Jinyu blushed angrily when he mentioned it. "You pinch my hair." The ball head she had carefully learned was destroyed by this big villain. "I'm sorry, I can't help it." Xiaoyu looked calm. "Don't pinch it." Bai Jinyu turned her head angrily, and stretched out her hand. "Then you have to hook up with me, or your words won't count." Xiaoyu looked at her, chuckled, and said, "Fool. Believe it like this, it's so easy to lie." If he and Sci-fi were not by her side, what would happen to her? Bai Jinyu opened her eyes wide. "You still scold me?" Xiaoyu didn't continue to bully her this time, but raised his hand to pat her on the head. "Go to sleep, Xiaobai, it will be fine when you wake up." Bai Jinyu was stunned. On the basketball court that day, She also heard Xiaobai, but it was fleeting and not very real. Xiaoyu didn't answer. He had already stood up, pushed open the balcony door and walked out, and closed the curtains in the room. The moonlight was covered, and the room darkened again. Bai Jinyu was indeed sleepy. She yawned and fell asleep unconsciously. At 6 o'clock, she woke up on time. Xiaoyu had already changed his clothes, and after hearing the voice, he came in from the balcony. "Get up." Bai Jinyu rubbed her eyes and saw that he handed her a new set of military training uniform. "Where did you get it?" "A spare," Xiaoyu said lazily. "I went to get an extra set just now." Bai Jinyu thanked him sincerely. "Thank you." She finished changing quickly, and Xiaoyu was waiting for her outside the door of the single apartment. "He is wearing a military cap, and the military green uniform suits him very well, and he is a bit more aggressive than standing on the stage wearing a singing uniform. Reminiscent of the young generals in ancient times, galloping on the battlefield with high spirits. As if feeling her gaze, Xiaoyu turned his head and smiled, "Is it nice to stare at me like that?" Bai Jinyu subconsciously said, "It looks good." After she finished speaking, she immediately covered her mouth. She was tricked by the villain. "It looks good, you can look at it more." Xiaoyu slowly bent down, "You can also feel it at a close distance, it is my apology to you. If you don't listen, you bastard." Chant the scriptures. Upon hearing this, Bai Jinyu covered her ears and ran away immediately. Xiaoyu didn't chase him either. He raised his hand, flicked the ashes on his clothes casually, stood for a while, and left the apartment. Here, Bai Jinyu returned to the dormitory as quickly as possible. "Jinyu," upon seeing her, Bian Suiyan rushed up and cried, "Jinyu, where have you been? I was so anxious that I almost called the police." I'm sorry," Bai Jinyu clasped his hands together and sincerely apologized, "my family took me away temporarily, and I didn't have time to tell you, and I will never do it again. I'm fine, I'm just worried that something will happen to you, and oh, Jinyu, let me tell you, I picked up a puppy in our dormitory yesterday." Bian Suiyan yelled angrily, "I came back after buying sausages, it disappeared, it must have been taken away by people from other dormitory buildings, it is so small, what if it is hungry and cold?" Bai Jinyu. She still hasn't figured out why she suddenly turned into an animal, only that she can't control her change. And after she became a puppy, other cats and dogs on campus were much older than her, what if she couldn't beat her? Bai Jinyu thought for a while and comforted her, "Maybe you will meet her again in the future. It's really a cute puppy." Bian Suiyan became interested, "Come on, let's go to the cafeteria to have breakfast, and I'll tell you something." After breakfast, military training officially begins at 8:30, and standing in a military posture is a daily task. After Xiaoyu gave the order, he asked the instructor of the next door team to help, and he went to the general command office to find Si. Si nodded towards him, "What's the matter? Come here suddenly." "Mr. Si." Xiaoyu pursed his lips, "Xiaobai suddenly turned into a little pixie yesterday. I brought her back to my dormitory temporarily. Is there any problem?" Si's eyes lit up, "Then it seems that Xiaobai is really recovering well, as expected, letting her blend into the crowd will help her recover, but her current transformation is still very unstable, and she may be at any time it changes back and forth between the human body and Pixiu." "That's it." Xiaoyu breathed a sigh of relief, "I'm still worried because her soul is unstable and suddenly changed back. He left her yesterday not because of anything else, but to make sure that she was in good health. After all, with his ability, he could send her back to the dormitory without disturbing anyone. Well, this change will last for a while." Si pondered, "When she can stabilize, she will fully recover." Xiaoyu hummed, "You will also remember the past." "That's right." Si patted him on the shoulder, "Thank you for taking care of her." Xiaoyu smiled and said softly, "It's not hard work. However, her transformation is not unstable." Si said again, "What time did she change yesterday? And it will be around the same time today." Xiaoyu frowned, "Okay, I see, teacher Si." Sure enough, as Si said, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, he deliberately passed by her dormitory building, and this time he found her in the grass again. Even though she was in the form of Pixiu, he could see the lovelessness on her face. Xiaoyu stepped forward unhurriedly, squatted down, and picked her up expertly. "It's you again, are you hungry? I'll take you to eat." Bai Jinyu licked her paw, very depressed. Why did she meet Xiaoyu again? Can't someone else take her back? "Let's go." Xiaoyu put her on his shoulders like yesterday, and returned to his bachelor's apartment. There are so many students on the road at this point in time, and where is Xiaoyu's popularity? The good student took a picture of the scene and posted it on Xiaoyu's chat. This puppy, isn't this brother Xia's WeChat chat background? Oh, it's teacher C's pet. Xiao Bibai appeared in Youth and Youth, old fans remember it? Ah. Still working so hard? Hiss, I feel like Brother Xia is covered in pink bubbles. Brother Xia, it's no wonder you haven't even had any scandals for so many years. It turns out that you don't like people. The truth is up there, Brother Xia himself is not human anyway, and he has one King's perverted true biography. Xiao Bibai also has true love for Brother Xia, and has accompanied Brother Xia to go back to college. Ching ching, ching ching, your puppy is going to be tricked away, look at this puppy is so cute, Brother Xia can eat it in one bite. Hashtag Xiaoyu, what I like is not people hashtag. This entry quickly became a hot search and took the #1 position. Xiaoyu didn't know that he had been compiled a series of stories by his fans, and he was patiently putting Bai Jinyu's favorite dishes in front of her. Bai Jinyu didn't realize this at all, and she happily grilled rice. Being a puppy can be fun sometimes. After eating and drinking, she lay down on the table, yawned, and leaned over to look at Xiaoyu's computer. She stretched out her paw, pressed the keyboard, and watched another cartoon. Xiaoyu turned his head and raised his eyebrows, like watching this? So domineering. Bai Jinyu raised one of his front legs confidently, and patted his face with his fluffy paw. Anyway, she was just a puppy now, he couldn't recognize her at all, and she didn't have any psychological burden to do anything. As long as she ran away in time before she transformed back, the embarrassing incident of last night would not have happened. He easily pinched her little paws, lifted her up, and said unhurriedly, with your small body, even if you threw your whole body at me, I wouldn't feel anything. This little fool thought he didn't know it was her. Bai Jinyu's face turned red with anger. Ah! Let her down now? The big bad guy? Xiaoyu brought her closer to him, lowered his head, what do you want to tell me? As we get closer, the scent of velvet roses deepens. As if bewitched, Bai Jinyu was stunned, subconsciously stretched out her small pale pink tongue, and licked his lips. Good morning. Continue to ask for votes. See you tomorrow, I will sort out the detailed outline and add more updates for you when May 1st you are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1034. Her movements were too fast and out of instinct, Xiaoyu couldn't react at all, her whole body froze, and her pupils dilated slightly. Time stood still at this moment. The breeze is blowing, only the residual touch on the lips is still very clear. At this moment, it seemed that every cell in his body was being hit, and the depths of his soul were trembling. Xiaoyu lowered his eyelashes, looking at the little white pixie that was only the size of a palm in his hand, his black eyes were extremely deep. Bai Jinyu finally came back to her senses. She was startled and froze for a second, then remembered that she was a puppy now. Since it is a cute puppy, there is nothing wrong with it. And it was the villain who caught her, so she was right to bully him. So she looked at Xiaoyu confidently, then stuck out her tongue and licked his lips, and waved her two non-aggressive paws at his face. Xiaoyu paused, and finally put her down, then stood up by himself, pushed open the door and went to the balcony. Bai Jinyu returned to the table, proudly wagging her tail. Humph, she found a solution to this big villain. He must have a clean freak, so he couldn't stand her action. If he bullies her in the future, she will turn into a puppy and lick him. She is so smart. Bai Jinyu was able to occupy the computer by herself, lying on the keyboard, happily watching cartoons. Here, on the balcony. In early September, the wind was very strong at night, and there was still a little bit of summer heat. It hit Xiaoyu, but it couldn't be higher than the temperature on his lips at this moment. He raised his hand and stroked his lips lightly with his slender fingers. He was amused and annoyed at the same time, and sighed, "What a fool. Thought he didn't know it was her. Play hooligans on him openly. Or maybe she didn't realize that there was something wrong with this behavior at all, and she regarded herself as a puppy." Su Ziun also told him with joy that the cat at home was very good and would kiss him. But this is not the same. Xiaoyu clearly knew that she was not a pet. He bent his legs and leaned against the railing of the balcony, blowing the cold wind for a while, and then he calmed down again. When he returned to his room, Bai Jinyu was still watching cartoons, feeling drowsy. After hearing the sound of footsteps, she raised her head abruptly, and accidentally bumped into the computer. Tears burst into tears instantly, and she stretched out two fluffy front paws to hug her head. Then a hand held her head and rubbed it. Bai Jinyu rubbed her hand subconsciously again. Hello. Xiaoyu looked careless, and smiled lazily. "You stole my first kiss, how are you going to compensate me?" Bai Jinyu's small body trembled, her purple eyes widened. "What? First kiss?" Xiaoyu is a top-notch male star. Although singing and dancing are his main business, he has also made movies with international directors, but he hasn't even made a kiss scene. Bian Suiyan said that Xiaoyu had never had an affair, but there were quite a few people chasing him in the circle, both men and women. Female celebrities are also politely invited out by assistants, while male celebrities are thrown out directly. Being kissed by a puppy is a first kiss? Lie to the dog. Bai Jinyu pretended not to understand anything, lowered her head and licked her paw. Xiaoyu didn't intend to let her go, but pinched her fluffy ears again, and said slowly, "You kissed me, and you don't intend to take responsibility." Bai Jinyu was dumbfounded. She didn't know whether she should be shocked at his shamelessness, or should she be angry at how this big villain even teased a dog. "It is estimated that when I tripped over a stone while walking and made contact with the ground, the earth should be responsible." Bai Jinyu sulked, turned around and pointed his tail at him, ignoring him. Xiaoyu could keenly sense the changes in her emotions, so he raised his eyebrows, which was a rare surprise. "Why are you suddenly angry?" Next, no matter how much he poked her, she ignored him and wagged her tail. "Xiaoyu. Okay. After kissing ruthlessly, she is a scumbag." He simply leaned on the chair and watched a movie with her. Time passed minute by minute, and it was 10:30 in a flash. In order to avoid what happened yesterday, Xiaoyu decided to send Bai Jinyu to Sci-fi first. But he didn't directly expose her knowing that she had turned into a puppy, he just put her in the form of a miniature pixie at the door of the villa, and told Sci-fi that he had picked up her dog. As soon as Bai Jinyu saw Sci-fi, she threw herself on Sci-fi's body with tears in her eyes, and grabbed her leg tightly. Only when Juju is there can she feel safe. "Thank you." Sci-fi hugged Xiaobai. "Do you want to stay here tonight?" When Bai Jinyu heard this, she shook her head desperately. Xiaoyu laughed lowly, "No, I still have something to do. I'll go back to the supernatural administration." Only then did Bai Jinyu breathe a sigh of relief, and was happily led into the bedroom by Sci-fi. Sure enough, at 12:30 in the middle of the night, she turned back into a human body. This time she turned into a puppy for a full 6 hours, which was a little shorter than yesterday. Fortunately, she wasn't on Xiaoyu's bed at this time, and she didn't make a living in front of him. Bai Jinyu slept peacefully until dawn. At 6 o'clock, she woke up naturally, changed her clothes as usual, and went downstairs with sleepy eyes. Xiaobai is awake. Sci-fi finished her morning practice and brought her meat buns. "Come and eat when you're hungry." "Juju." Bai Jinyu trotted forward, hugged Sci-fi's arm, and burst into tears. "Juju, I turned into a dog without a butt, am I a disabled puppy? Cough cough cough, I fucking was choked and coughed violently. Uzian raised her hand and patted her on the back. I fucking looked quietly at Baijinyu, who was crying very sadly, and didn't know how to explain Pixio to her. When she has not collected all the souls and recovered her memory, she cannot use external force to force her to recover, so everyone swallowed the fact that Xiaobai is a Pixio, and only regarded her as a real person. But in reality, she does it better than most. Although the matter is very unbelievable, it just shows that Xiaobai, you are unique. I fucking look serious, even if you become a dog, you will still be the cutest and most beautiful. Really, Baijinyu burst into tears, but if I know other dogs, won't I be disgusted by them? Really? I fucking patted her head with serious eyes, it doesn't matter if you become a puppy, I still love you. Baijinyu was dumbfounded, Juju. She suddenly burst into tears. Her memory is blank, and the only person in her mind is I fucking. This is the indelible soul bond between them, she relies on and believes in I fucking unconditionally. Why don't you cry? I fucking took out a few small skirts from the box, and said lightly, look, this is the little skirt I made for you, even if you become a dog, you can wear it. White must be beautiful. Baijinyu rubbed her eyes, thank you Juju, I have caused you trouble again. You are not troublesome, you are my family. I fucking patted her head, don't say that about yourself, you are very important. Baijinyu lowered her head, sometimes it feels like I can't help Juju with anything, and I have to ask you to help me. I fucking didn't speak, she hugged Baijinyu, and after a long silence, she said softly, you've helped me a lot, really, eat quickly. Baijinyu untied her knot and ate the buns happily. Only when you are full can you train with strength. For the safety of Xiaobai's life, I fucking finally did not drive himself, and asked Feng San to send Xiaobai to Xia University. After the door of the villa was closed, I fucking was thoughtful, Aju, I think something was wrong with Xiaoyu yesterday, he seemed to have experienced some kind of strenuous exercise. Uzian heard the words, took a sip of tea slowly, and said lightly, it should not be so beastly. I fucking. Why do fighting sports become beasts? She can't understand. Uzian raised her eyes and suddenly smiled, today's rest. Well, the filming of Changxian is finished. I fucking stretched his waist and squeezed his shoulders, I will go to major cities to promote it in a few days. With the popularity of Changxian, in fact, there is no need to promote it at all. But she knew that the moose had been waiting for a long time, and she wanted to meet them too. Changxian is still a big heroine drama, affectionate and righteous, but not limited to personal love. Because Walking the Devil 5 years ago set off a wave of fairy tale dramas again. In recent years, there have been many fairy tale dramas, but the content is similar. The supporting role is just a victim and tool of the love between the hero and heroine. The audience urgently needs a pure fairy tale drama. Uzian supported her head, her brows and eyes were light, the big star has finally rested. He thought he was already very busy, and it was difficult to spare a certain amount of time to accompany her. But she is busier than him. Ninth brother, I will accompany you today. I fucking raised his hand, I will accompany you wherever you go. Uzian glanced at her, finally stretched out his hand, touched her head, and smiled lightly, well, let's go. In the afternoon, 49 City, the dealer. The dealer was overwhelmed with gloom, shrouded in a gloomy atmosphere. The door opened, and an old man in the costume of an onmyoji walked in under the leadership of the butler. Master Zhong, you are finally here. Seeing him, the owner of the dealer was so excited that he responded, I have been taking good care of my son according to your instructions, but as you said, he is only 24 years old. At 12 noon on the day of my birthday, I suddenly passed out and never woke up again. Master Zhong pondered for a moment, and then slowly said, it seems that we still have to use the original method. The owner of the dealer was taken aback. The first way. The reason why your son became a vegetative and unconscious is because his luck is too weak, Master Zhong said slowly. Mr. Zhuang can find a girl with strong luck for him to be his wife, and they become husband and wife. Even if they have the same origin, this girl's luck can naturally be used by the son. The owner's eyes lit up, and then he frowned again. What's the origin of the lucky girl? Among the people this old man has met, the strongest one is naturally that Miss Si. Miss Si. Master Zhong pointed to a billboard outside the window. When Mr. Zhuang saw it, he trembled all over, and broke out in a cold sweat. Master Zhong, you are killing me, and killing everyone in the dealer. That's Si fucking. Si fucking, whom all the family forces combined could not afford to offend. He dared to let Si fucking marry into the dealer after eating the bear's heart and leopard's courage? Although Si fucking and Yu Zion didn't make it official, but those of them who have been in the entertainment industry are smart and know about their relationship. Of course the old man understands. Master Zhong smiled and waved his hands. It's just that you asked who had better luck earlier, so the old man will give you Miss Si as an example. As he said that, his expression became solemn. This old man can only feel that Miss C's luck is extremely strong. I don't know how strong this is. The owner of the dealer couldn't help taking a deep breath. Dare to ask, Master, is there any other candidates? There is also Ms. Zhang, her luck is also very strong. Master Zhong stroked his beard, then pointed to the TV. The owner of the dealer looked over, sweating even more, and couldn't help but smiled wryly. Master Zhong, you really killed me. Miss Zhang and Miss Si are from the same girl group, and they are as close as sisters. How dare I think about it? Master Zhong sighed. Then the old man will find a way to stabilize the son's body first, and then find someone else. The dealer nodded hurriedly. Just then, the phone rang. The dealer picked it up. Hey, Li Xiao, what's the matter? Dad, my military training will end soon, Zhuang Jiao said. I will invite my classmates to dinner then. Remember to book a hotel for me. Xia University's military training is coming to an end, and these 2 days have been rehearsing for the final report performance. Okay, no problem, the dealer quickly agreed. Li Xiao, where are you now? Zhuang Jiao pointed the camera at the playground. It just broke up. Dad, let me tell you, I have a roommate who hates me very much, and I don't like her very much. She began to tell the dealer about Bai Jinyu's appearance, and even pointed at Bai Jinyu specifically. Master Zhong looked very sharply at Bai Jinyu, who was not far behind Zhuang Jiao in the camera. A few seconds later, he smiled meaningfully. The owner of the dealer, even the heavens are helping you. It doesn't take much effort to get here. Your son is saved. What? The dealer's expression lifted. Master Zhong has a candidate. It's the roommate that Ling I mentioned just now. Master Zhong squinted his eyes. I saw that the luck on her body is also very strong, and it is so dazzling that it covers all the light of the people around. It's no wonder that Ling I has repeatedly suffered from her. It's because of luck, and this luck is predetermined, alas. The owner of the dealer nodded, and his expression became cold. It's just that she was born well, not her own ability. In this way, Master Zhong doesn't need to find anyone else, just her, and she can also vent her anger on Li Xiao. Si fucking and Zhang Changning, those were existences that he didn't even dare to think about. But Bai Jinyu, a student of Xia University, is still within reach for the dealer. In the last 3 days of April, babies still have monthly tickets to vote for. After Xiaobai remembered everything, Brother Xie would be miserable. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1035. What's more, the dealer is now considered an upstart in 49 City, and is still in the stage of rapid growth, and many people want to catch the dealer's line and enter the entertainment circle. Since the downfall of the Yu family, the Lin family, the Li family and the Lu family are three pillars, and the relationship is very stable. And these three families, without exception, are related to Sci-fi and Uzion. The proprietor of the dealer naturally wanted to avoid and respect Sci-fi, absolutely not daring to have any friction with her, otherwise the Yu family would be a lesson from the past. But if it was a student of Xia University, Zhuang Jiao's roommate, the owner of the dealer would not be so afraid. It is her blessing that ordinary people can marry into the dealer. Master Zhong stroked his beard again, and his smile widened. Besides, if we can lure this woman in, not only can we save your son, but also make Mr. Zhuang's family skyrocket. Is this true? The dealer's expression lifted. This luck is so strong, it has such an effect. Mr. Zhuang doesn't understand. Most people's luck is within a certain range. Master Zhong shook his head and explained in an unhurried manner, as long as it is within this range, the level of luck will actually bring about a certain level of luck, not much difference. The proprietor was thoughtful. Master Zhong, please continue. However, there are still a small number of people whose luck is far below this range. Master Zhong said, these are people with extremely low luck. As the saying goes, they will choke to death if they drink saliva, but it is not an exaggeration, because there are such people. Hearing this, the dealer turned pale with shock. Then why is their luck so low? The old man said just now that this luck is determined by the heavens. Master Zhong smiled. The heavenly secrets are unpredictable. Mr. Zhuang asked the old man, and the old man couldn't give a reasonable answer. The proprietor hesitated. That roommate Li Xiao. This is a very small group of people in the end. Master Zhong said flatly, they have extremely high luck, and there may not be such a person in a million people. One person can protect a family, or even a country. The dealer's eyes widened, and he took a deep breath. Then this day is too unfair. Master Zhong didn't respond this time. His eyes were heavy. But there was one thing he didn't say. Luck can be increased, and the methods include borrowing luck, seizing luck, changing fate, absorbing other people's luck, and so on. But if you want to achieve great luck, besides the destiny, you have to have great merit. This is huge, big enough to save the common people in the world. He is a casual onmyoji, and all onmyojis must learn Yinhuang when they practice fate, the most basic theory of yin-yang and 5 elements. Yinhuang is a good example. His merits are too great, and his luck is naturally huge. It's not that God made him, but he made the sky. But how many Yinhuangs have there been since ancient times? 99% of people's luck is still predetermined, let alone a student of Xia Dali. Master Zhong didn't explain any more to the dealer. This old man picks a few good days and auspicious days for Mr. Zhuang. Master Zhong brought a pen, ink, paper, and inkstone, and wrote down a few dates. My son won't last long, please Mr. Zhuang, as soon as possible. Thank you, Master Zhong. The owner of the dealer hurriedly got up and sent him out. The dealer will still need to rely on Master Zhong a lot in the future. Master Zhong smiled, non-committal. He also has his own selfishness. If the owner of the dealer successfully introduced the Xia University student into the dealer's door, then he might also be able to get a piece of the pie. Who doesn't want to improve their luck? It's just that exchanging fate with luck is going against the sky after all. He doesn't want to hurt his morality. If the banker comes forward first, then things will be much easier. Master Zhong thought to himself, and the smile on his face deepened. 2 days later, the military training officially ended. Finally I can rest. Bian Suiyan stretched her waist. Jinyu, let's go, I'll treat you to a big meal. I'm sorry, Yanyan, I haven't been free tonight. Bai Jinyu said in a muffled voice. Shall we go eat at noon tomorrow? As soon as the sun goes down, she doesn't know when she's going to be a dog. No problem. Bian Suiyan nodded. Then let's go to the cafeteria to eat something casually today. Bai Jinyu glanced at the time. It was 5:40, it wasn't until 6 o'clock, there was still time. So she went to the cafeteria with Bien Swayan. Along the way, she kept thinking in her heart, don't let her meet Xiaoyu, don't let her meet Xiaoyu. 2 days ago, she ran to find Si fucking as soon as she turned into a dog, and she will continue to do so today. But things often backfired. Bai Jinyu knew that Xiaoyu was coming when he heard the sound of exclamation. She closed her eyes and pretended not to see anything, but the cold fragrance of roses was getting closer. She sneaked a look and just happened to see Xiaoyu walking side by side with Su Ziun. Brother Xia, what's the matter with you? It's like being sick these 2 days. Su Ziun hooked his shoulder. What happened? Tell me, I'll help you solve it. Xiaoyu's eyelashes drooped, and he suddenly said, I was kissed. Su Ziun. What did he hear? He thanked such a marble statue, blooming. Forcibly kissed, Xiaoyu added, but the other party was not responsible and ran away. In a word, the CPU of Su Ziun's brain burned up, and he stammered, what? Brother Xia, you said you were kissed and kicked. The tone of his words was a bit high, and everyone who was close turned their heads for a while. Su Ziun immediately covered his mouth. Xiaoyu put his hands in his pockets, walked leisurely, and replied unhurriedly, with a smile, yes. Damn it, Bien Swayan was shocked. Jinyu, did you hear that Xiaoyu is not responsible for someone kissing him forcibly? By Jinyu. She obviously just licked him a few times, how could it be a forced kiss? Can puppies do wrong things? Just at this moment, Xiaoyu turned around. The eyes of the two met. Bai Jinyu turned her head guiltily, avoiding Xiaoyu's sight. But as soon as she turned around, she couldn't help but pause, thinking, this is wrong. She kissed him after turning into a puppy, and he didn't know it was her. What did the puppy do have anything to do with her? So she looked at her confidently, and ordered a large plate of sweet and sour pork. After eating, the pointer has passed 6 o'clock. After separating from Bien Swayan, Bai Jinyu turned into a little white dog in the dark again. She lay lovelessly on the grass, playing with pulling weeds with her claws. Even though she's been a puppy for a few days now, she still needs quiet. The wind in September was neither hot nor cold, and there was a hint of warmth in the coolness. She enjoyed blowing the wind until a voice sounded. Got you. Bai Jinyu frowned instantly, jumping up and running. But she was only a little bigger than a palm, so how could she outrun Xiaoyu? Xiaoyu brought her up in front of his eyes. What's the matter? I'll run away after kissing. I've never seen such a scumbag like you. Bai Jinyu looked at him ferociously, grinning, "Ah. Let's go." Xiaoyu put her on her shoulders. I'll take you home today. After an hour. Paranormal Authority. The guard at the door saw Xiaoyu and was overjoyed. Young leader. Xiaoyu waved his hand and greeted them one by one. Bai Jinyu was a little curious. She also heard Si fucking mention the Supernatural Administration, which is also one of the 4 alliances under Yin Huang's command, the Spirit League. The current leader is surnamed Yun. Xiaoyu turned out to be the leader of the Young Alliance. Bai Jinyu licked her paw, looked at Xiaoyu, and hummed twice. Xiaoyu led her all the way into the hall, and called out to the person sitting first, Grandpa. You're back. Why are you still? Leader Yun raised his eyes, nodded towards him, and suddenly saw Bai Jinyu dozing off on Xiaoyu's shoulder. His eyes widened. You. How did this turtle grandson bring Pixiu back? Isn't this fatal? Grandpa. Xiaoyu stopped his words in advance without haste. I'm hungry, and Xiao Bai is also hungry. Leader Yun glared at him. Then why don't you hurry up and take Xiao Bai to dinner? What are you doing here? Roll on. Bai Jinyu pricked up her fluffy ears and wailed twice. Hey, why does she feel that Xiaoyu has no family status at all and is not as good as her? Yes. Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows. I'll take her to eat right away. After arriving at the restaurant, Xiaoyu first put Bai Jinyu down and asked her to wait for him here. Bai Jinyu was lying on the table board, rolling around. Where did the puppy come from? A female voice said. Wow, it's so cute. In the next second, a pair of big eyes appeared in front of Baijinyu's eyes. Her pupils lit up. It's a beautiful sister. She ran over, pat her and rubbed the palm of the girl's hand. Whoa, so cute. The girl was so moved that she was about to cry. How can there be such a cute dog? Are you not wanted? Come home with me, okay. Baijinyu tilted her head, and just about to nod subconsciously, her body suddenly flew into the air. A hand lifted her up, and she was held in his arms. The familiar cold fragrance hit her, and she couldn't help but sneezed. At the same time, there was a sound, very calm and quiet. Yun Zhao Zhao. Cousin, cousin. Yun Zhao Zhao was taken aback, and smiled flatteringly. Why are you back? Aren't you an instructor? She was very afraid of her cousin. Xiaoyu looks lazy and has a loose temper, he is a noble son. But in his bones, he inherited Xia Yangkai's cruelty, but it was well concealed. Yun Zhao Zhao once saw how the 16-year-old Xiaoyu beat an A-level evolutionary who had killed dozens of people bit by bit, causing her to have nightmares for a week in a row. Xiaoyu put one hand in his pocket, and looked down at her condescendingly. If I don't come back, you will take away all my people. What? Yun Zhao Zhao turned pale with shock. You mean you like one of my recent suitors? You really aren't straight. Baijinyu secretly listened to the gossip, thoughtful. Is this why Xiaoyu has never had any scandals? Xiaoyu was too lazy to talk nonsense with Yun Zhao Zhao, so he hugged Xiaobai and left. Yun Zhao Zhao became anxious. Wait, cousin, I found this dog first. Xiaoyu didn't even pause, and only said two words, mine. Cousin, you can't be so cruel, Yun Zhao Zhao cried loudly. Why do you, a big man, want to snatch a puppy from me? You should go play something else. No, Xiaoyu said slowly with a smile on his lips, I just like puppies. He lowered his head, poked Baijinyu's face, and said softly, I like it very much. Baijinyu's face became hot, and it began to heat up rapidly, and her heart was pounding. As a puppy, she actually felt her heartbeat at this moment. But she is a dog. Baijinyu wilted again. She turned over and continued to point her tail at Xiaoyu. She is not happy. With a careless expression, Xiaoyu combed her hair with his other hand. Yun Zhao Zhao was shocked by his shamelessness. You are shameless. Xiaoyu hummed, I'm shameless. You don't need a face to do this kind of thing. Yun Zhao Zhao. Has her cousin been impaled? Yun Zhao Zhao was indignant. I curse you for not being able to find a wife for the rest of your life. Xiaoyu finally stopped and smiled softly, which made Yun Zhao Zhao panic. He said lightly, I remember, when I get married, you will sit at the children's table. Yun Zhao Zhao. After visiting the supernatural administration, Xiaoyu sent her back to Sci-fi's villa. Baijinyu also found that the time for her to become a dog was getting shorter and shorter. Today it only lasted for 3 hours, and she returned to her human form before 10 o'clock. At the same time, she could feel that there seemed to be a kind of power in her body, which was gradually erupting. Xiaobai, this is the promotional ticket for Changxian. Sci came over and patted her head. You give some to your friends too. Thank you, Juju. Baijinyu cheered. I love you the most. If you have something to tell me in time, you can also tell Xiaoyu. Sci looked serious. Don't hide it by yourself. Hearing the name Xiaoyu, Baijinyu's face burned again. She hesitated for a moment, and asked, Juju, if you kiss someone else for a while but then run away, what if he asks you to settle the score? Sci. Would she do such a thing? She looked at Yuzian, who was sitting on the sofa. Well, she does. What are you running for? Then kiss him. Sci clenched his fists. Press him on the bed, kiss him until he can't get up, let him see how powerful you are. Yuzian's eyelashes moved. Baijinyu's eyes widened. is that so? Sci-fi nodded solemnly, that's it, and you can. Before she could finish her sentence, someone grabbed her shoulder and helped her up, ching ching. Aju, Sci-fu tilted his head up. Uzian's voice was gentle but could not be refused, there are some things that we need to go to the bedroom to talk about. Hey, wait. I didn't mean that. I know, let's go upstairs. Holding her chin, Baijinyu looked at Si who was brought upstairs by Uzian, and began to study the method Si taught her. Then, she fell into distress again. As a small dog the size of a palm, why can't Xiaoyu kiss him? This is a very serious question, and she needs to think about it carefully. Early the next morning, the freshman class officially began. Baijinyu was a student in the special recruitment class, and she and Bian Suiyan did not attend classes together. The courses in the special recruitment class are more difficult, but it is very easy for her. The fourth class in the morning passed quickly. Baijinyu yawned, and made an appointment with Bian Suiyan to eat in the cafeteria. As soon as she left the teaching building, her footsteps suddenly stopped. At the same moment, several tall men in black walked towards her. The leading man said very politely, "Miss Bai, our dealer has an invitation, please come with us now." Say yes, but in fact it is mandatory. The man winked, and other bodyguards stepped forward. Baijinyu blinked her eyes, without any sign of fear, she said in a soft voice, "If you don't want to get hurt, can you please let me go?" Ching ching, what have you taught? The baby who still has a monthly ticket voted up wow. See you tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Ching Qian. Chapter 1036. As soon as these words came out, the air froze for a moment. The dealer's bodyguards seemed to have heard something extremely ridiculous, and looked at Baijinyu in surprise, as if they were looking at a crazy and stupid person. They have also been in the bodyguard industry for 10 years and have undergone systematic training. Needless to say, men and women are inherently different in physique. What could a little girl hurt them? It seems that they are well protected. Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. Miss Bai, we just want to invite you to be a guest at the dealer. Why are you so stressed? The middle-aged man in the lead smiled with a bit of sarcasm and contempt. The dealer will not do anything to you, you say right. Baijinyu looked at him and tilted his head. That's right, let's go then. The middle-aged man's smile widened. Miss Bai is a sensible person, please. This is Xia University after all. If Baijinyu insisted not to go with them, they would not be able to kidnap someone forcibly on campus. But there were people from them at the 4 gates of Xia University. As soon as Baijinyu left the campus, they would forcefully stuff him into the car and take him to the dealer. Baijinyu picked up her school bag, followed behind the Zhuang's bodyguards, and quickly left the school gate. Okay, it's over there, people have already cleaned it. The middle-aged man nodded. I'll take that little girl there right now. After finishing speaking, he put down his phone and waved to the rest of the bodyguards. Surrounded by bodyguards, Baijinyu was taken into an empty alley. The middle-aged man is very satisfied with this place. He can easily tie up Baijinyu without being discovered by others, causing unnecessary trouble. Ali also satisfied Baijinyu. She squeezed her wrist and looked around. There is no one else, which is fine. As Jeju said, beating people must be done when no one is around, otherwise they will not be able to perform well and the beating will not be enjoyable. It's really hard work, Miss Bai. We will contact your family in a while. The middle-aged man took out a nylon rope. The car is here, please Miss Bai. He didn't finish his sentence because Baijinyu moved. She directly clenched her palm into a fist, and with a lower uppercut, hit the middle-aged man on the jaw. Boom! There was a loud bang, and the middle-aged man didn't even have time to react, and he flew upside down. With a boom, he slammed heavily on the car, and the car body sank directly into a big hole. It's really useless, Bai Jinyu muttered. I didn't even use my full strength, it's boring. She squeezed her wrist, turned around, and looked at the other 4 bodyguards with a smile. Guys, it's your turn. Boom. Bang bang. The impact of fists was mixed with a few screams, which sounded very shrill. The bodyguards fell to the ground one after another. No one could understand why such a powerful force could erupt from the body of an 18-year-old girl who looked weak and only 1.6 meters tall. Bai Jinyu didn't give them time to think, and landed another punch, hard on the chest of the last bodyguard. She snorted and raised her head. See clearly, this is called invincible dog punch. The bodyguard who fell on the ground. Bai Jinyu seemed to have simply punched them a few times, but they hit the nail on the head, making them so painful that they couldn't even breathe. The middle-aged man's brain was buzzing, and he managed to get up from the sunken car with great difficulty. His eyes were tearing apart. You. What about me? What are you going to say? Bai Jinyu squatted down in concern, and punched the wall again. With a click, the wall cracked. The dealer's bodyguard stared at Bai Jinyu in disbelief. His whole body trembled, and his clothes were soaked in cold sweat. Obviously, before coming, the owner of the dealer said that Bai Jinyu was just an ordinary summer college student. Even if he just finished his military training and practiced military boxing, it is impossible to have such great strength. What are you doing looking at me like that? Bai Jinyu blinked. Didn't I say that? If you don't want to get hurt, you can get out of the way, but if you don't let me out, what can I do? The middle-aged man was almost dizzy and couldn't catch his breath. Bai Jinyu blew on his hands, took out an alcohol wipe to wipe it, and then took out his mobile phone to call Sci-fi. Juju, I smashed the wall. Sci-fi was very calm, as if he had expected this kind of thing a long time ago. It's okay, Shiu, I'll send you money. Thank you, Juju. Bai Jinyu asked in a cheerful tone. Someone wants to kidnap me, should I send them to Kinjunmen or T18? Sci-fi thought for a while, and said, you are close to the Kinjunmen now, and it happens that Mr. Zhang is patrolling around Seata, so just hand it over to him. After the call was over, Bai Jinyu looked at the dealer's bodyguards again, bent his eyes and smiled. Guys, I'll take you to Kinjunmen for tea, okay? Today was Saturday, and Zhang Shuiyan and Ji Qinjiao were indeed patrolling the city. After receiving Bai Jinyu's report, the two rushed over immediately with a team of guards from the Qinjun League. When they saw the 5 bodyguards lying on the ground and Bai Jinyu who was squatting on the ground and counting ants, everyone in the Qinjun League fell silent. Naturally, they all knew Bai Jinyu's identity from Sci-fi. Knowing that she lost her soul and body in the end, just to let Sci-fi become a god. They all admired her sincerely. But now, as expected of Miss Si, the methods are the same. Miss Bai Zhang Shuiyan came back to his senses first. He took a step forward and smiled slightly. Your body looks much better. It's much better. I can cook 3 bowls of rice. Bai Jinyu raised 3 fingers. These people said they belonged to the banker, and they wanted to take me away from school. I don't know what the purpose is. Oh, Zhang Shuiyan's eyes fell on the middle-aged man. He was still smiling, the corners of his lips were curled up, his pupils were dark, and the meaning was unclear. But this smile gave the middle-aged man a chill, as if he had fallen into a world of ice and snow. League of thousands of armies. The middle-aged man's thoughts were completely confused, and his teeth were gritted. Why is Bai Jinyu still related to Qinjunmen? The Qinjunmen actually listened to her and came at any time. The middle-aged man had never seen Zhang Shuiyan, but of course he had heard of it. He is not stupid, as can be judged from Zhang Shuiyan's appearance, temperament, and attire. It is said that Zhang Shuiyan is a smiling fox. The deeper the smile, the scarier it is. The middle-aged man shivered uncontrollably, and said in a difficult voice, Master Zhang, He just brought Bai Jinyu to the dealer according to the owner's instructions, and he didn't do anything. How could he go straight to the point of entering the Kinjun League? On the other side, Ji Kinjao stepped on the ribs of the bodyguard in black, and said in a cold voice, "Be honest." "Qingyao and I took these people away." Zhang Shuiyan looked away, nodded and smiled at Bai Jinyu. "In the future, Kinjunmen also welcomes Miss Bai to visit frequently." "Yeah, I will." Bai Jinyu waved his hand, "Thank you." Zhang Shuiyan suddenly raised his head, and then smiled, "Someone is looking for Miss Bai, so we won't bother you anymore." He beckoned and asked the guards to imprison all 5 bodyguards. Bai Jinyu was a little confused. "Who is looking for me?" She turned her head and met a pair of familiar eyes. The young man stood with one hand in his pocket and looked at her at the entrance of the alley. Half of his face was in the dark, and the other half was dyed a layer of gold by the sun. Bai Jinyu was taken aback. "Thank you. Why is he here? Why is he still elusive?" Xiaoyu greeted Zhang Shuiyan first, then waved to her lazily, his voice unhurried. "What are you doing standing there? Come here." Bai Jinyu let out an "oh" and walked over. After she walked up to him and stopped, she suddenly regained her senses. Why did she listen to him so much? As he got closer, the light and shadow dissipated, and she could see his face more clearly. There is a seductive style between the sharp eyebrows and eyes, and the streamer of eyes floats when they are raised and lowered. Bai Jinyu uncontrollably remembered the night she turned into a dog and licked his lips. It can't be her fault, it's him who tempted the puppy. Just when she was born, Xiaoyu raised his hand and pinched her ear. Bai Jinyu's ears burned instantly, and she said loudly, "What are you doing? She's not a puppy right now." She wanted to back away, but couldn't break free, and her face turned red with anger. Xiaoyu didn't speak, but gently turned her head over again, and examined it carefully. After confirming that there was no injury, he suddenly smiled, his brows and eyes stretched. When he is serious and smiling, he is always noble and indifferent. Sometimes when the fox eyes are bent, it is just a superficial smile that does not reach the bottom of the eyes, making people difficult to approach lazily. Smile now, as if the spring breeze is blowing, and 3,000 peach blossoms are slowly blooming. She has always known that he is good looking, otherwise he would not be in the C position, and his debut would be top class. Bai Jinyu subconsciously licked her lips. Seeing her move, Xiaoyu's eyes darkened. But he quickly recovered his expression, and lazily said, "From now on, no one is allowed to fight alone." "Ah," Bai Jinyu was a little confused, "but I'm not enough to fight alone, do you have to share it with me?" "Xiaoyu." He pressed the center of his brows, and finally realized that communicating with her could not be done in a normal way, so he raised his chin and asked her, "Want to play on the set?" Bai Jinyu looked at her in a daze. "What crew?" "I accepted a TV series." Xiaoyu made a phone call. "The filming will start immediately, the studio is nearby, and we will be able to walk there soon." Bai Jinyu was curious, "Why did you suddenly accept TV dramas?" As soon as Xiaoyu debuted, he was taken away by international directors. He has only made movies in the past few years, and the box office is extremely high. Last year, he was one of the top 10 most profitable actors in the world. It is true that many TV dramas have invited him, but he has not accepted any of them. "Go ahead and play." Xiaoyu rubbed her head. "Let's go, don't just stand there." Bai Jinyu came back to her senses and was dragged away by Xiaoyu. She is very angry. This big villain actually called her stupid again. The crew is indeed next door to Xia University, and it only takes 10 minutes to walk. Bai Jinyu thought in her heart that if she was this close, she could come over anytime. If she can get some photos of Reuters and sell them to the marketing account to make money, then she can eat delicious food. At this time, her head was tapped lightly. "What are you thinking, so happy?" "I want to secretly take pictures of you to exchange for money." As soon as the sentence came out, the two fell silent at the same time. Bai Jinyu covered her mouth with tears in her eyes. Why did she say what was in her heart? Xiaoyu stopped, bent over slightly, and narrowed his fox eyes. Can you secretly take pictures of me to exchange for money? At this moment, the pressure he brought was so strong that Bai Jinyu couldn't help taking a step back. He gave a low laugh, and said lightly, "You don't need to take a special shot, I'll give it to you, Xiao Bai." Bai Jinyu only felt the tip of her ears heat up. She jumped away abruptly, and stammered, You have something to say, don't get so close." Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows when he heard this, and smiled, "Are you sure this distance is called short? This is a very safe distance. Why didn't you say that when you kissed him?" Bai Jinyu felt a little guilty. For a split second, she almost thought he knew she was the puppy. But this is impossible. She didn't change herself in front of him. Xiaoyu glanced at her, straightened up again, and walked forward. After entering the crew, he took off his mask. Mr. Xie, the assistant director, greeted him, saw Bai Jinyu behind him, and asked in surprise, "Who is this?" Xiaoyu didn't answer, but said, "Arrange a separate lounge." "Okay," the assistant director responded, but hesitated. "Mr. Xie, if there is no problem, we will start filming tomorrow, but there is still a role missing, and there may be a few important scenes that need to be postponed." Xiaoyu was thoughtful, and asked Bai Jinyu, who was in a daze, "Xiao Bai, do you want to play a movie?" Bai Jinyu didn't hesitate, "Yes, I want to film with Juju." "Xiaoyu." He sighed, asked the assistant director, and smiled, "That character, what do you think of her?" "What?" The assistant director was taken aback, "You said this?" Xiaoyu helped Bai Jinyu take off the mask. "I think she is very suitable." When seeing Bai Jinyu's true face, the assistant director couldn't help but gasped, and blurted out excitedly, "It's okay, okay." Bai Jinyu opened her eyes wide, "Did you sell me?" "Is there?" Xiaoyu asked back, "You said you want to film a movie with teacher Si, and she will indeed come as a guest star in this drama." "Oh," Bai Jinyu whispered, "you have a black heart written all over your face, I don't really trust you." Xiaoyu curled his lips and smiled, "Well, we must be so vigilant in the future. It's not easy for him to deceive her, and it's even more difficult for others to deceive her." Bai Jinyu became more vigilant, "Are you planning some bad idea?" Xiaoyu shook his head, calmly said, "No." He handed her the script, "I have drawn all the lines for you, and I will be in charge of playing against you in a while." On the other side, the dealer. The owner of the dealer waited for a whole day, but he didn't get the news that the bodyguard had brought Bai Jinyu back. He was a little anxious. The phone call was made, but it didn't work at all. The owner of the dealer was a little flustered, and immediately sent a second team, and hurriedly called to find Master Zhong. Master Zhong came to the dealer soon, and after listening to the owner's narration, he stroked his beard, and his eyes flashed. This old man forgot to remind Mr. Zhuang, "This woman has great luck, so luck is also very good, if you want to, it's not that easy to catch her." "Then what should we do?" The owner of the dealer became even more anxious, "My son's illness can't be delayed." "Mr. Zhuang, don't worry," Master Zhong smiled, "I will use the technique of yin-yang and 5 elements to trap her temporarily, and you only need to send someone there." The dealer let out a sigh of relief. On Myoji strikes, ordinary people can't resist anyway. Bai Jinyu had to marry into their family and use her luck to nourish the dealer, so that she could show her full potential. Good morning. The double monthly pass for Q reading is also open, everyone votes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1037. The owner of the bank did not believe in the principles of yin and yang and the 5 elements. He thought it was a feudal superstition. but it wasn't until he was rescued by Master Zhong in a car accident that he was shocked that there were such wonderful things in the world. However, we must choose a suitable time for this matter. Master Zhong said again, Mr. Chuang, please wait for another 2 days. No trouble, the proprietor hurriedly said, thanks to Master Zhong, otherwise if something happened to my son, I wouldn't be able to explain it to his mother. Master Zhong nodded and got up to say goodbye. Dad Zhuang Jiao came back at this time, and looked at Master Zhong suspiciously. Who is that? Li Xiao, Dad wants to tell you something. The dealer smiled and said, the roommate you mentioned yesterday, Dad decided to let her marry your brother. Dad, what are you talking about? You want her to be my sister-in-law? You're crazy, Zhuang Jiao yelled in disbelief. Do you know how much I hate her? I don't know where it came from, the strange girl who came, I don't want to see her at all. Since high school, the students who knew her identity also respected her and held her up. Occasionally, there are a few good students with excellent conditions who sneer at her, and she can find various ways to bully them. But Bai Jinyu was not only strong but heartless, and she was also a top student in the special recruitment class. She didn't even have a chance to do it, and instead, she was forced out of the dormitory. If Bai Jinyu married into the dealer, would she still have her place? Li Xiao, calm down, don't be so excited. The owner of the dealer didn't get angry, but smiled to comfort her. The reason for her to marry your brother is to make your brother wake up, and her luck can be used by the dealer. The development of our family will be better. That won't work, Zhuang Jiao sneered. I can't let her step on my head, and she can marry into the dealer? She deserves it. How could she step on your head? The owner of the dealer shook his head, and said inexplicably, Father only needs her to enter the dealer's house. Isn't it up to you to decide what she will look like after she comes in? Hearing this, Zhuang Jiao's eyes lit up. Then I will torture her well and make her kneel and prostrate at my feet. Fine, fine, it's all up to you. The owner of the dealer didn't think there was anything wrong with these words. Let Master Zhong trap her and bring her back to Zhong's house, and marry her after your brother wakes up. What do you want to do to her? Whatever. Master Zhong said that once Bai Jinyu married into the dealer, her luck would be bound to the dealer. As long as Bai Jinyu does not die, these luck will not dissipate. Okay, I can wait. Zhuang Jiao's eyes flickered. Dad, I will videotape her when the time comes, so that others can see how she apologized to me. The owner of the dealer responded one by one. Li Xiao, your father can't keep watching you at school, remember to protect yourself. Dad, don't worry, they don't dare to bully me. Zhuang Jiao was very proud. I just took out a few tickets for the promotional event of Changxian yesterday, and they came to curry favor with me. She couldn't wait to see how Bai Jinyu begged her. On the other side, Zhuheng Entertainment. Ever since Qin Ziyu's character set collapsed and completely collapsed, and was sent to T18 for sentencing, Zhuheng Entertainment also suffered a heavy blow. Zhuheng Entertainment has launched many traffic stars, but none of them have made money from Qin Ziyu. And now that Sci-fucking has returned, it is impossible for them to create another little Sci-fucking. So Zhuheng Entertainment pinned all its hopes on Mu Cheng. The agent put a document on the table. Xiaoyu accepted the news of the art of the world, you know it? You must have a sense of crisis. Mu Cheng took a deep breath. He's a movie guy. What do you do if you have nothing to do with TV dramas? Originally, he was originally intended to be the leading actor in the TV series The Art of the World, and he had already contacted his team, but in the blink of an eye, it became Xiaoyu. It is impossible for Mu Cheng not to care. Especially before the filming of The Art of the World, Zhuheng Entertainment had already cooperated with the marketing account and sent out a lot of drafts. His fans were also enthusiastic and made statistics for him every day. The day before yesterday, after Tianxiaju official Weibo announced that the male lead was Xiaoyu, he immediately became a joke. No matter how powerful the marketing was in the past, the backlash is huge now. Mu Qing laughed so hard at me. How long have you been licking the art of the world? Isn't this still not licked? There's no official announcement from the crew yet, but Mu Qing's team swears that the male lead is theirs, and they have stepped on a bunch of celebrities, and now the boomerang is here. Who doesn't know that Mu Qing started to benchmark Xiaoyu when he debuted? Have you matched the benchmark? Please do not touch Brother Xie, it is not on the same level. I am looking forward to Brother Xie's first TV series. I heard that baby Qing Qing has a guest appearance, and the guest appearance seems to be the hero's sister. Mu Qing looked at his Weibo square, upset, and dropped his phone heavily on the table. That's not clear, the agent sighed, but if he starts accepting TV dramas, he will definitely rob you of your resources. Mu Qing naturally realized this clearly, and the anxiety in his heart deepened. Okay, don't be angry, don't worry, even though you didn't get the male lead of the art of the world, the company still got you the third male lead, the agent persuaded, and there is Xiaoyu playing the role. The more traffic this drama will bring, it will be good for you. Mu Qing exhaled slowly, and nodded reluctantly. Okay, I understand. After all, he was recognized as a top male actor, and he wouldn't act unless the show gave him a show, but now he had to act as a supporting role for Xiaoyu. But he also had to swallow this breath. He is not as stupid as Qin Ziyu, who would provoke Sci-fucking over and over again. Clean up your mood and go to the set tomorrow. The manager patted him on the shoulder. You must respect Xiaoyu, do you understand? Mu Qing was a little reluctant. He pursed his lips. Understood. The manager nodded and walked out. Brother Qian outside, the manager's assistant saw the manager come out and greeted him. Shall we send out the draft this time? Don't post it. Brother Qian looked worried. I'm afraid it will backfire if I post it, so let Mu Qinggan film with peace of mind, just to borrow Xiaoyu's traffic. The agent's assistant also sighed. At first, Xiaoyu had been making movies, and he had no business relationship with teacher Mu at all, but now, the so-called no career involvement. In fact, Mu Qing can't get in touch with Xiaoyu's circle at all, it can't be compared. Let's take a step and see. Brother Qian took a puff of cigarette. If Mu Qing collapses, we will really be left alone. He only hoped that Mu Qing would not be as ignorant as Qin Ziyu, otherwise he would not know how he died. The next day, Sunday morning, Bai Jinyu woke up on the bed. After washing up, she yawned and went downstairs, shouting cheerfully as usual, "Juju hey." When there was no response, she opened her sleepy eyes and found that there was indeed a person sitting on the sofa, but it was not Sci-fucking. The young man was wearing a simple white shirt, with the sleeves rolled up to the middle of the forearm, revealing perfect muscle lines, quite youthful. He heard footsteps and turned around. Bai Jinyu immediately hid behind the wall pillar, stammering, "You, what are you doing here so early in the morning?" She was still wearing a nightgown. Forgot. Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows, and said unhurriedly, "Yesterday you made an appointment with me, and today we went to the set together. Why did you forget so soon, little fool?" Bai Jinyu said fiercely, "I'm not stupid." "Well, I'm not stupid." Xiaoyu smiled lightly. "Let's change our clothes and let's go, I bought you steamed buns." Bai Jinyu quickly changed her clothes, and was taken into the car by Xiaoyu. She whispered, "But I don't know how to act, so what if I delay your progress?" "It's okay," Xiaoyu said casually, "it's fine to act in your true colors." Bai Jinyu recalled the characters she played in the script. He is a rabbit spirit with explosive combat power. When he first met the male lead, he once knocked the male lead away with a single punch. Bai Jinyu. After a few seconds, she hesitated and said, "Are you saying that I look like a violent rabbit?" Xiaoyu's eyelashes moved slightly, and his lips curled up. "Well, I can act in my true colors." Bai Jinyu's fist hardened. She gritted her teeth and smiled. She would definitely rape Xiaoyu well during filming, so that he would not dare to bully her again. 30 minutes later, the crew. Today is the first day of the official shooting of The Art of the World. The director team and the photography team have already finished their preparations. Xiaoyu was taken away by the makeup artist. Bai Jinyu sat down on a small bench and began to read the script. After a while, other actors arrived one after another, and they couldn't help but look in Bai Jinyu's direction, whispering. Mu Qing came with his agent. He also saw Bai Jinyu at a glance, with a little surprise in his eyes, and couldn't help asking, "Is that girl new? I haven't seen it before." "Oh, yes, it's a newcomer," the staff member answered casually. "It was brought by Mr. Xie, who is in charge of teaching opera, but he looks really beautiful and has an ancient style." Mu Qing's eyes narrowed slightly. The newcomer Xiaoyu brought, or a girl? Interesting. Xiaoyu has been abstaining all these years, no scandals have spread, and he keeps a distance from all the opposite sex in public. Mu Qing once suspected that his sexual orientation is male. Mu Qing thought for a moment, then walked forward slowly, stood in front of Bai Jinyu, and smiled. "Hi, I'm Mu Qing, may I know your name?" Bai Jinyu raised her head in a daze, as if taken aback. "Don't come here." Her voice alarmed the others, and Mu Qing was a little uneasy, but she still held her temper. "Do you have any questions and need help?" "No, don't come near me." Bai Jinyu's expression was a little painful. "You really look too ugly." These three words still didn't come out. She ran away with the script in her arms. Mu Qing's hand froze in the air, neither retracting nor advancing. His expression was a little blurry, staring at the direction Bai Jinyu left, not knowing what he was thinking. "What are you doing?" a cold voice sounded. There was a momentary chill on Mu Qing's back, as if being stared at by something terrifying. Even his scalp was numb. He turned around with a stiff movement that seemed to take all his strength. When he saw Xiaoyu, he even felt the chill rushing towards the sky. Mu Qing opened his mouth. "Thank you, teacher." He had an illusion just now. When Xiaoyu looked at him, he seemed to be able to kill him. Xiaoyu glanced at him, and said lightly, "Since you're here, let's come over and play first." Mu Qing took a deep breath. "Okay, thank you, teacher, for your guidance." He also changed the costumes with the help of makeup artists and prop artists. Xiaoyu weighed the long knife in his hand, with a cold expression. "Come here, try a move. Don't be dazed, come on." Brother Qian pushed Mu Qing. "It's a good opportunity to show your face." The director said that this episode can be made into a sideshow and promoted first. Mu Qing gritted her teeth and went on. 30 seconds later, it ended with Mu Qing paralyzed on the ground. He couldn't even see clearly how Xiaoyu made his moves. If Xiaoyu had a real weapon in his hand, he might have lost it. Mu Qing felt cold in his heart. This was also the first time he realized the huge gap between him and Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu was filming a TV series for the first time, and he was not familiar with the filming process of TV series, but his sense of drama was very strong, and the filming went very smoothly. It was noon soon. "I'm leaving first." Bai Jinyu ran to Xiaoyu with her bag in her arms, and said in a low voice, "Juju and I have an appointment to have dinner, and I'll see you in the evening." Her voice was soft, like cotton candy slowly melting on her heart. Xiaoyu's eyes darkened again, and he responded in a low voice, "Okay." Yeah. Bai Jinyu nodded, and even praised him specifically. "You're really good at acting." Xiaoyu smiled. "Go." He helped Bai Jinyu take a taxi and returned to Xia University. Bai Jinyu and Si made an appointment at 12 noon, and now it is 11:50. The sun was still strong at the end of September, so she stood under a tree and waited. "Bai Jinyu." A sharp voice sounded from behind her. Bai Jinyu recognized that it was Zhuang Jiao, but she didn't even bother to answer her, and lazily leaned against a tree to bask in the sun. "Are you waiting for some man to pick you up?" Zhuang Jiao didn't plan to leave just like that, but walked over aggressively. "A girl like you can only find a backer, right? I have to admit, you deputy looks, there are many men eating." Bai Jinyu finally turned her head. But your good days will come soon. Zhuang Jiao was still talking to herself. You can be lucky, my father has taken a fancy to you and is going to make you his daughter-in-law, but you can't do it for 3 lifetimes. It's a blessing to come. I advise you to have a good relationship with me now, otherwise you won't know how you died when you enter the dealership. Papa Papa. The sound of clapping hands sounded at this moment. There was a laugh. What a big tone. Zhuang Jiao frowned, and turned around. Let me be honest, why? Her voice stopped abruptly. There are no tigers in the mountains, and monkeys dominate. Sci-fi slowly raised his eyes, his tone was cool. It's ridiculous, isn't it? The last day of April. Babies who still have monthly tickets, don't forget to vote. I will give you more shout-outs tomorrow. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1038. She took off her sunglasses and mask, revealing a face that could drive the international entertainment circle crazy. Time seemed to stand still at this moment, and all sounds disappeared. Zhuang Jiao's eyes widened, as if she had seen a ghost. She lost her voice completely. Si is now an international celebrity, and she can be seen everywhere on the street, so of course she knows her. Zhuang Jiao once met the real Si from a distance at a charity dinner, but she had no chance to get in touch with it. This was the first time she saw this face so close, which is known as unifying the aesthetics of the entertainment industry. There was only a blank in her mind. Si fox eyes were bent, and he looked at her with a half-smile. His gaze was light but extremely powerful. Zhuang Jiao only felt a chill rushing towards the sky, and her teeth were chattering. I am not. She opened her mouth for a long time, but couldn't utter a complete sentence. Zhuang Jiao also knows that T18 and Zero are joining forces to fight against evil forces. Why was it that Si Feuding overheard her when she said harsh words to Bai Jinyu? With Si status, how could he come to Xia University in such plain clothes? Zhuang Jiao's thoughts were completely confused. Si didn't pay attention to Zhuang Jiao anymore. She stepped forward and rubbed Bai Jinyu's head. Her eyes and voice were very gentle. Have you been waiting for a long time? Bai Jinyu shook her head, her eyes brightened. I didn't wait long, Juju, I just arrived too. Well, that's good. Si hummed lightly. I can't bear to be a second late, and you will marry into this banker. She turned her head, and her eyes fell on Zhuang Jiao again. Is it a blessing obtained in 3 lifetimes? Can your farmer afford this blessing? As the last Pixio in the 2 worlds of Eternal Continent and Earth, Xiaobai has inherited the luck and power of the entire Pixio family. Not to mention that she saved the common people and benefited the world, and her meritorious deeds are immeasurable. Not to mention an ordinary secular family, even a huge evolutionary family can't stand Bai Jinyu's luck. Hearing this sentence, Zhuang Jiao turned pale and trembled. I didn't mean that, I didn't, Miss Si, I really didn't. My person, I can bully her and train her, but I still can't bear it. Si tone paused, with a sudden intent to kill, but the voice was still smiling and very gentle. What is it? Thump. Zhuang Jiao's legs softened and she knelt on the ground. She couldn't bear such pressure at all, even if Si just glanced at her lightly. What scares her even more is the words my people. Bai Jinyu and Si are so close, why don't they ever talk about it? No. Zhuang Jiao suddenly recalled the day not long ago when Bai Jinyu complained to the person on the phone. At that time, she mocked that there was no need to find someone to impersonate Si and slap her in the face to pretend to be fat. Is this actually true? Beads of sweat appeared on her forehead, and her clothes were soaked in cold sweat. In addition to fear, there is more resentment and hatred in his heart. If she knew Si she would triumphantly announce to everyone, why didn't Bai Jinyu show it at all? Bai Jinyu did it on purpose. Zhuang Jiao's body trembled more violently, and her expression became more and more panicked. It's over, this is Si fucking. She can't afford to offend her with all her strength, what should she do now? Si fucking bent down slightly, his brows and eyes were light. I can't take it anymore. Then why do you still want Xiaobai to please you? Why don't you please her? She never liked to use power to oppress others, and Xiaobai was by her side, so he naturally had the same temperament as her. But if she encounters a bully, she doesn't mind doing it back in her own way. She doesn't have to take advantage of the situation to overwhelm others, she does it herself. Zhuang Jiao's face turned even paler. Bai Jinyu blinked her eyes and looked at Si fucking with admiration, but at the same time she was somewhat puzzled. Hey, did Jeju ever bully her? She doesn't seem to remember. She is so obedient, how could she do something that made Jeju angry? Certainly not. Si fucking withdrew his gaze and straightened up. She took Bai Jinyu's hand and led her to the motorcycle parked by the roadside. Bai Jinyu directly forgot the other people's repeated advice not to use her boss, Fu Qing's car, and happily sat on the back seat of the car, hugging Si fucking's waist. With a bang, the motorcycle flew away. 20 minutes later, Bai Jinyu hugged the tree and vomited faintly. 999, there are so many little stars in the sky, twinkling and twinkling. Si fucking. No way. She is very restrained in driving a motorcycle. Looks like I'll have to slow down next time. Bai Jinyu drank another bottle of water, and then she recovered. She justly complained, Jeju, I will never ride in your car again. No matter what you say, it's useless, Si fucking admitted his mistake sincerely, I will definitely pay attention next time. Okay, then I forgive you. Bai Jinyu looked up, a little distressed. Jeju, when did you bully me? Why did I forget this? Si fucking recalled that when she first picked up Xiaobai, it ate her necklace while she was not paying attention, so he raised his eyebrows, and said unhurriedly, I hit you once for stealing food. Bai Jinyu subconsciously covered her face, her earlobes were bleeding red. Really? How could I do such a thing? Her image is gone. Thinking of this, Bai Jinyu burst into tears. Blame me, I should have recorded it for you. Si fucking nodded and asked, how long did the transformation last yesterday? Bai Jinyu snapped her fingers, less than 3 hours. Si fucking was thoughtful, well, the recovery is faster than I expected, let's go in and eat delicious food. When Xiaobai regains her memory and all her strength, she will be able to rest assured. In the afternoon, Weibo broadcast the first tidbit of the crew of The Art of the World. The Art of the World is also a fairy tale drama, adapted from a popular male novel. In the picture, Xiaoyu is wearing a black and gold god of war armor, holding a long knife, tall and straight, with wide shoulders and narrow waist, and smooth muscle lines. The tidbits did not add any special effects or filters, but Xiaoyu abruptly pulled the audience into an ancient battlefield of swords, lights, and swords. So hot, brother Xia, make more costume dramas, please, I love to watch this kind of characters with a sense of surprise. Oh my god, I think brother Xia is fighting for real. The fight was so fierce that Mu Qing couldn't catch it. I've always thought that Mu Qing was pretty handsome, and I've seen quite a few video clips of him. How could he be framed together with Xiaoyu, and be directly portrayed as an ordinary man? Beautiful appearance has a wall. Brother Xia and my goddess are rich siblings, and Mu Qing has been dating for a long time, but he still can't compare to the rightful owner. As soon as this tidbit came out, Xiaoyu gained another group of fans, but Mu Qing lost a lot of fans. As a traffic star, Mu Qing's fan base was already very unstable. Now that The Art of the World has just started filming, there has been such a negative impact, which is very detrimental to his development. In the lounge, Brother Qian frowned and looked at him, didn't I tell you not to provoke Xiaoyu? Why did you go back? He asked me to go. Mu Qing only felt wronged. I really didn't know he was so good at martial arts scenes, and that long knife weighed 50 caddies. Brother Qian sighed, he's Sci-fucking student, even if he hasn't made a TV series before, it's easy for him. Mu Qing didn't speak, but pursed his lips tightly. While he was angry, he was also a little confused. Xiaoyu did not stop when he was fighting with him. He could feel the chill on Xiaoyu's body. Why? Could it be because of that rookie actor? Mu Qing's eyes flickered, thoughtful. At this moment, the sun is setting and the sun is setting, and the day's shooting is over. Outside the lounge, Xiaoyu took off his God of War armor. He picked up the phone on the table, and there were 2 unread messages on the lock screen. Xiaoyu's eyelashes moved and he opened them. Xiaobai, go shopping with Jeju, eat with Jeju. Xiaobai, picture huh? Hungry you? Xiaoyu stretched his brows and eyes, lifted his eyebrows, and sent a voice directly, will you eat me? It took only 3 seconds for this voice to be sent before a new reply popped up. Xiaobai, if you don't listen, don't listen. Bastard chant sutras. Xiaoyu lowered his eyes and raised his lips. It's too cute, he can't stand it. On the other side, the director is watching the clip recorded today. Mr. Xia is not in love, right? The assistant director trotted over and lowered his voice mysteriously. From my experience, he must be in love. You can see that there are pink bubbles all over his body. The director wondered, what experience do you have? The assistant director was confident, I used to have a girl I like send me a message, and my face would smile like a chrysanthemum. If you don't believe me, look at it. Director. He looked at Xiaoyu disbelievingly. The young man's expression was still as lazy as ever, but there was a smile on his brows, eyes, and mouth, as if every cell was infected by this joy. The director just looked at it from a distance, and felt his teeth hurt a little. He kicked the assistant director, stop gossiping, go and prepare for tomorrow's shooting. The assistant director muttered, where did I gossip? What I said is obviously the truth. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the sun went down. Bai Jinyu glanced at the sky, and whispered to Sci-fucking, Jeju, I might transform soon, remember to hide me well. Sci-fucking nodded, no problem. As soon as Bai Jinyu finished saying this, with a boom, she turned into a white puppy. Sci-fucking caught her just in time. Bai Jinyu was very depressed. Hurry up, the shorter the time you have changed now, the more stable your body is. Sci-fucking tugged at her little tail, don't be sad, you can wear a small skirt when you go back. Bai Jinyu's eyes lit up, and suddenly her ears moved again, oh. She felt a bad breath approaching. Sci-fucking naturally noticed it long ago, she hugged Xiaobai well, turned around slowly, and squinted her eyes to one side. At the same time, Master Zhong across the street frowned. What happened? What about people? Just now he felt Bai Jinyu's presence, why did he disappear in a blink of an eye? Master Zhong calculated again and was even more surprised. Is it possible that this can greatly change the living person and disappear directly? Weird. Just as Master Zhong was about to find Bai Jinyu's whereabouts, a voice sounded behind him, with a faint smile, oh? Who am I? It turns out to be an Onmyoji. First update. Add more for everyone today for the holiday. The new month has begun, everyone has guaranteed monthly tickets, please vote for Ching Ching and Your Majesty to support, thank you. Q reading is a double monthly ticket, one ticket is worth 2 tickets. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1039. Who? Master Zhong suddenly raised his head and became vigilant. He possesses the power of yin and yang and the 5 elements, and if he mixes with ordinary people, no one should be able to perceive his existence. How come his identity has been broken? As soon as he raised his head, when the surrounding scenery came into view, Master Zhong turned pale with shock. The location he was in was no longer at the crossroads with endless traffic, and the surrounding area was covered with white mist, making it impossible to see anything. The art of mirror flower and water moon. Quietly, turning reality and nothingness upside down can trap an entire army of tens of thousands of people. According to history books, the ancestors of the Ji family once used this technique. This is a technique that only yin and yang masters can use. Master Zhong's heart flustered uncontrollably. He is an onmyoji who is a casual cultivator, and he is not attached to any family or association, but he has been diligent all these years, and he has not done anything evil. Why was he suddenly approached by an onmyoji master? Senior, Master Zhong's voice trembled, suppressing the fear in his heart. I don't know where the senior came from, so what can I do to find the junior? The mist slowly dispersed, and a figure gradually appeared. The girl is tall and slender, wearing a simple t-shirt, jeans, and a baseball cap. It seemed as if a gust of wind could blow her away, but standing here at this moment, she was like a towering mountain that could not be shaken. Master Zhong's pupils shrank suddenly, and blurted out, "It's you." "Oh? No me." I fucking put Bai Jinyu on his shoulders, put his hands in his pockets. Well, there are indeed many me on the billboards on the road recently. You, Luck, you actually. Master Zhong's thoughts suddenly became chaotic. He originally thought that Si fucking's luck was strong because she was well known as a celebrity, but he never expected that she was actually a celestial master of yin and yang. No. Maybe it's not just the yin-yang celestial master. Master Zhong found that he couldn't feel any fluctuations of yin-yang and 5 elements in Si fucking's body, which meant that she had reached the highest level, returning to the basics and washing away all the brilliance. Si fucking didn't answer Master Zhong's question, she just raised her hand slightly. With a buzz, Master Zhong felt as if his brain had been pricked by a needle, and the pain instantly pierced his bones. He fell to his knees with a plop, his body trembling constantly. Si fucking looked calm, and waved again. Shua. A phantom image appeared in front of the two of them, and the scene of the conversation between Master Zhong and the dealer was flashing quickly. Master Zhong looked at the scene in disbelief, his face turned pale. This. How can this be? This is his memory, even the yin-yang celestial master can't do this. After Bai Jinyu finished watching, her hair exploded all over her body. She grinned at Master Zhong. "Ah. There are villains who want her luck. Get lucky." Si fucking's voice was flat, unable to detect any emotion. Very good, very good. There was fine cold sweat on Master Zhong's forehead, and he was still quibbling. Senior, no. This is not trying to grab luck, but just wanting to use luck to protect yourself. Absolutely no intention of grabbing luck. He raised his head and said anxiously, Senior, you should know that there are too many things to change your fate by borrowing luck. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. In the past, he also helped other powerful families to exchange their fortunes, but they were not punished in any way. Originally, Master Zhong planned to retire after completing Bai Jinyu's vote. After all, what he did was still against the law of heaven, and he would more or less suffer backlash. Oh? Yes, there are many people in the world who use luck to change their fate, and I can't control it, Si fucking said in a cold tone, but unfortunately, I will not allow such things to exist wherever I encounter them. The world is dark and the laws of heaven are unfair, so she can become today. Wherever it goes, the torch should burn in darkness. Si fucking casually poked Xiaobai's fluffy head, and said in a gentle voice, and the person you want to snatch is the one I have been taking care of until now. You think I don't care? Master Zhong's legs became weaker, and he collapsed on the ground. Senior, spare your life. Senior, spare your life. It's the junior who is short-sighted, and I didn't know that I met the senior, Please give me another chance. Yes. People with great luck will naturally be surrounded by people with strong luck. How could he have forgotten this? Si took 2 steps closer, his fox eyes curled up, and his voice was light and light. What are you afraid of? Isn't it an onmyoji? You're not afraid of ghosts, so why are you afraid of me? Oh, Juju, he wants my luck, hit him, Baijinyu yelled, but suddenly realized that she was speaking in human language. Her eyes lit up. Juju, I can also be a dog when I become a dog, tell me. Am I almost fully recovered? Yes, I smiled. After you recover, you can do whatever you want. Master Zhong looked at Pixiu, who spoke in disbelief, and let out a scream. It turned out to be a spirit beast. He read from the book that a long time ago, the earth had spiritual energy, as well as spiritual beasts and spiritual plants. It's just that all the aura disappeared later, and there was no sign of recovery at all, so the spirit beast and the spirit plant naturally disappeared along with it. Only spirit beasts can understand human language and writing. But now, tens of thousands of years have passed since the ancient era when there was spirit energy, so why do spirit beasts still exist? Knowledgeable Si glanced at him indifferently. Study well, but it's a pity that he is not good at learning. In the past, the eternal continent and the earth split into 2 worlds, and the eternal continent took away all the spiritual energy. Therefore, the eternal continent has evolved into a magical world of spiritual cultivation, while the earth has become a technological world. Senior, I really did it unintentionally. I was just working for someone else. Master Zhong was terrified. It's the dealer. They are all dealers, and it's the dealer's young master who is weak and out of luck. I can't rely on me. If your mind is not right, you don't have to be an onmyoji. Si ignored his begging for mercy, and raised his hand again. Kaka. There was the sound of bones breaking, although there was no pain, but Master Zhong's face turned pale. It's over. The power of yin-yang and 5 elements that he has practiced for 30 years has been abolished, and he can no longer become an onmyoji. Master Zhong sat on the ground blankly. Boom. All the fog dissipated, and the sounds of cars, people, and wind rushed in frantically at this moment. The passers-by were also shocked to find Master Zhong at the intersection, and couldn't help but retreat. When will there be one more person? Hey, are you all right? Can you stand up? Strange clothes. Master Zhong's eyes were dull, as if he had lost all his strength. He had everything. Overwhelming regrets drowned out all the thoughts in his mind. At this moment, Baijinyu was gnawing an apple on Si shoulder. It's just that she still maintains the appearance of a little white dog, and the apple is bigger than her body. She had to hold the apple tightly with all 4 paws and eat it in small bites. Soon she patted her chubby belly and turned over, raised her fluffy head to rub against Si neck, and said in a soft voice, Juju, I'm causing you trouble again. What kind of trouble is this? It's a random thing, Si said lightly. It's just that your transformation has been unstable recently, otherwise you can easily solve a 3rd-rank onmyoji. Baijinyu clenched her fluffy little paws and waved, then I'll quickly recover and protect Juju. Si eyelashes trembled, and he chuckled lightly, okay. She rubbed Xiaobai's head, then let me protect you well before you recover. Let's go to the dealer. At this moment, dealer. The farmer is having dinner. After Zhuang Jiao missed and broke 3 bowls, the owner of the dealer realized her abnormality. Li Xiao, what's the matter with you? You've been restless all day today. The owner of the dealer was very concerned. Did something happen in school again? Or did your roommate show you another face? When Baijinyu was mentioned, Zhuang Jiao jumped up in fright. Dad, stop talking. Is that so? The dealer's expression sank. Li Xiao, you don't have to worry, Master Zhong has already made a move, and I think he will be able to bring that Baijinyu back in a while. When she marries your brother, you can beat her, scold her and humiliate her as you like. What? Zhuang Jiao's expression changed in an instant, and she was so anxious that she was about to cry. Dad, no, you can get Master Zhong back quickly. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. What's the big deal? The dealer snorted. Master Zhong is an onmyoji, as long as he is an ordinary person, then. A voice interrupted the dealer's words, and he smiled coldly. So in your opinion, ordinary people can beat, scold, and humiliate at will? The owner of the banker was stunned for a moment, and his first reaction was to be angry. Yes, my banker has power and power, why not? This is the banker, who dares to be presumptuous. Ah! Zhuang Jiao suddenly screamed, and fell to the ground with her chair. She looked in horror at the girl who suddenly appeared in the dealer's restaurant, and her nerves, which had been tormented all day, were completely broken at this moment. Si fucking. How did Si fucking appear? What kind of supernatural power is this that can come and go without a trace? The dealer's pupils also dilated. You. That's good. Si fucking stepped on the stool with one foot, and said slowly, then I'll let you try it first, the taste of beating, scolding and insulting. Add more. Continue to ask for a wave of guaranteed monthly tickets. Xiaobai and Xia, you still have a few more chapters to go. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1040. Chapter 1022. Slap in the face, sprinkle sugar and expose yourself. Thump. The dealer's legs also went limp, and he fell to the ground, his ears buzzing. He has been avoiding Si fucking all the time, and is cautious in doing things, lest he offend Si fucking and put the banker in a desperate situation. But he had calculated thousands of times, but he still offended Si fucking in the end. Why is his luck so bad? Miss Si, Miss Si, I. Zhuang Zhou opened his mouth, his face pale. Your daughter wants to bully Xiaobai at school, but she doesn't have the ability. Si fucking said lightly, eyelashes drooping. Your heart is bigger, and you want her luck. She is willing to protect the common people with her luck, only wishing that the rivers are clear and the mountains and rivers are peaceful. This is her willingness. You can grab people's luck, but you can't protect them after all. The dealer's face was pale. She is you. I'm not a good person, and I don't have any morals. Si fucking bent down and smiled slightly. I'm more protective, and no one can touch her. Bai Jinyu was still lying on Si fucking's shoulders, so moved that tears came to her eyes. As expected, Juju is her favorite. The dealer's voice trembled violently, and it was difficult to speak. I didn't know that she had. Oh. That's the same as that. Master Si fucking smiled lightly. I'm quite vicious, and I just like to see bullies like you kick against a stronger board. With a boom, the dealer's mind was blown blank. It's over, he's going to be over. The banker has developed rapidly in recent years, and he has also been highly praised. With power in hand, how could he be unfavorable to his desires? Shanglu, it's me. Si fucking dialed Qin Junmen's phone number. His voice was calm. Well, immediately find out all the dealer's business properties, and don't let go of any details, and finish it within today. After the call was over, she hugged Xiaobai, moved her figure, and disappeared from the dealer with a swish, leaving the father and daughter of the dealer sitting on the ground, soaked in cold sweat. Here, on the way back to the villa, Bai Jinyu flicked her tail and said suddenly, Juju, I want to. Before she finished speaking, there was another bang, and she immediately returned to her human form. But the expected fall didn't happen, and she was held firmly in Si fucking's arms. Si fucking lazily said, it's okay, you are so light, I can still hug you. She put Xiaobai down, and patted Xiaobai's head again. It only lasted 2 hours today, it seems that you will be able to recover soon. Yeah, Jeju, I'm joining the crew to act. Bai Jinyu rubbed her palm, I'm still playing against you. As long as you like it, you don't have to change your preferences because of me. I fucking nodded. Did Xiaoyu bully you again these days? No, no, Bai Jinyu raised her head. I'm amazing, he can't bully me. Does she forcefully kiss him? That's good. I fucking paused, then sighed, but he treats you. Xiaoyu has always been very fond of Xiaobai, she also sees it, she is a qualified pixie shit shovel officer. Bai Jinyu didn't hear clearly. 99. It's nothing. I fucking pinched her face and smiled. You recover quickly, I'm still waiting for you to protect me, go upstairs to rest. Back in the bedroom, Bai Jinyu threw herself on the bed, rolled over, and slowly took out her phone. She sent a few WeChat messages to Xiaoyu during her transformation, and there was a new reply at this moment, which was 2 hours ago. Xiaoyu, what are you doing? Xiaobai, I went to fight with Jeju just now, so happy. Xiaoyu replied in seconds and sent a voice message. Xiaoyu, well, just be happy, good night. The voice played automatically, and his clean and lazy voice echoed in the silent bedroom. Bai Jinyu pressed the voice bar and listened to it again. Very pleasant voice, and a little hypnotic. She hesitated and sent a new message. Xiaobai, can you read a fairy tale to lull me to sleep? I think your voice is very nice, very similar to Oracle Elf. As a strategy mobile game, Oracle Elf also brings together well-known voice actors at home and abroad. Her favorite character is voiced by Kamakami from Shininsha. Xiaoyu, who was practicing, paused when he saw the news. He raised his hand, pressed the center of his eyebrows, and let out a long breath. He knew that there was no superfluous meaning in what she said and wanted, and she never thought about the relationship between a man and a woman. But when he saw her words, his heart always beat uncontrollably. Xiaoyu lowered his eyelashes, smiled very lowly, and said casually, okay. After a while, Bai Jinyu received a 30-minute recording file. She listened cheerfully. It is really suitable for sleeping. Soon, Bai Jinyu fell into a deep sleep. This time she slept peacefully, and it was dawn when she opened her eyes. She subconsciously touched the phone to check the time, but found that the phone had automatically shut down because the battery was exhausted. Bai Jinyu was in a daze, only to remember that she had listened to Xiaoyu's recording all night. She tapped her head, and his voice seemed to be still echoing in her ears. It's terrible. She rushed to the bathroom, and after washing up, she rode back to Xia University. Today she has 4 classes in the morning, and she plans to go to the library to study in the afternoon. Jinyu, we have another basketball game to watch this afternoon. Bian Suiyan was very excited. Xiaoyu is going to play, and there are many handsome guys, please, come watch with me. Bai Jinyu couldn't refuse her plea. Okay. By the way, Zhuang Jiao dropped out of school. Bian Suiyan said again, I guess I offended some important person. This time I kicked the iron plate, and I deserve it. The two came out of the cafeteria after lunch. Bian Suiyan was called away by the instructor, and Bai Jinyu walked back to the dormitory along the ginkgo path. There are few people on this road, but the scenery is beautiful, and she likes it very much. Just as she was walking aimlessly, she suddenly saw a familiar figure. Bai Jinyu's movements were faster than her mind. She turned around and ran, but she didn't succeed. A hand held her wrist, the fingertips were cold, and the palm was soft, making her whole arm feel hot. Bai Jinyu shrank her hand, but still failed. She immediately complained loudly, You, what are you arresting me for? I should ask you this, what are you running for? Xiaoyu seemed a little helpless, am I some kind of monster? I run so fast, like a rabbit. His fox eyes are even more attractive, and he is full of smile at the moment, as if there are stars scattered in his eyes, and there are peach blossoms floating in his eyes, stirring his heart bit by bit. Bai Jinyu blurted out, "Of course you are, you male vixen." As soon as the words came out, she immediately covered her mouth with tears in her eyes. What did she say? The villain will definitely seize on this and bully her. Xiaoyu raised his eyebrows, bent slightly, looked at her at the same level, and smiled on his lips. Then did I do my job well and seduce you? Bai Jinyu's cheeks twitched, and she stammered, I'm going to rest, and I have to watch the basketball game in the afternoon. She ran away immediately, so fast that Xiaoyu couldn't stop her. He straightened up again, his fox eyes slightly narrowed, and looked in the direction she left. Watching a basketball game? Xiaoyu tugged on his collar. It looks like he's taking it seriously. The basketball game officially started at 2 o'clock, and at 1:30, many students arrived at the basketball court. Jinyu, Bian Suiyan ran over bouncingly. Hey, why is your face so red? Is it very hot? Bai Jinyu rubbed her face, then lowered her head. No, I might have been poisoned. She must have been drugged by Xiaoyu to always want to see him. What? Bian Suiyan turned pale with shock, and immediately grabbed her hand. Then I'll send you to the hospital. Who is so wicked to poison you? No, Bai Jinyu's voice was muffled. It's not physical, it's spiritual. Bian Suiyan was stunned. How can I do this? Bai Jinyu held her chin, and suddenly asked, Yan, if you want to see someone every day, why is that? Bian Suiyan thought about it seriously. That must be because he owes me money, and I want him to pay it back. Oh, Bai Jinyu suddenly realized, and his expression brightened, so that's how it is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Brother Xie is so handsome. On the playground, the crowd suddenly became excited. Bai Jinyu raised her head and looked for the sound. The young man in sportswear has a perfect figure and smooth muscles. He seemed to have noticed her gaze, and looked straight over. His fox eyes immediately curled up, and a little smile appeared on his lips. Very pretty. Ah, Xiaoyu laughed. Bian Suiyan shook Bai Jinyu's shoulder frantically. He must have smiled at you. I don't care, he is. My CP can't be. Bai Jinyu was pounding, her face was a little hot. She said honestly, I don't think so. Bian Suiyan opened her eyes wide. Why? I think he is special to you. Bai Jinyu was very angry. He treats a dog better than me. He even kisses dogs. Although the dog is also her. But as long as she doesn't admit it, Xiaoyu won't know. Bian Suiyan. She doesn't understand the world more and more. The speed of Qin Junmen was very fast. Within a day, all the gray industries involved in the dealer were seized, and Master Zhone was also taken away by the supernatural administration. Knowing that this matter was handed over to Qin Junmen, Roland cried and accused, Sir, when will you give me a performance? My life is miserable. Si fucking ruthlessly hung up his phone. Aju, I'm still a little ill-considered. She turned her head and looked at Yu Zion. Now the Earth and the Eternal Continent are running in parallel, and the Eternal Continent also has aura that is nourishing the Earth, so the possibility of the birth of Onmyoji and evolvers it's getting higher and higher. The evolutionary genes of an evolutionary originally come from the Eternal Continent, and various evolutionary abilities also belong to the power of various laws. Now that both worlds have stabilized, the possibility of the evolutionary going berserk has been minimized. Yu Zion also looked at her and said, I will be there for whatever you want. He protects the common people in the world, and she protects him. Vice versa. They never have to separate each other. Okay, Sifu gave him a hug. I'll go to the studio. She was about to leave when her wrist was caught. Sifu tilted his head back and blinked. What's wrong? Yu Zion supported her head with the other hand. Did the girl forget something? Si fucking looked at him, stepped forward slowly, bent down, and kissed him on the lips, this time. She didn't finish her sentence. He suddenly turned over and pressed her on the sofa, clasped her wrists with both hands, leaned over and kissed her, which can be called an attack on the city. After a long time, he let her go and smiled slightly, it's fine now. Si fucking. What a big black heart monster. 30 minutes later, the studio. Sister Sang Si fucking wore a mask, poking his head, are you busy? Sang Yanking said, no busy, what's wrong with your voice? It's nothing. Si fucking sat down, coughed twice, and logged into Weibo. Sang Yanking asked curiously, why did you suddenly log into Weibo? There is no promotional material for Cheng Xian today. She knew that Si fucking didn't surf the internet very much, unless something important happened. I'll update the certification. Si fucking snapped his fingers and said unhurriedly, Sister Sang, we have a lot of work to do by then. Sang Yanking. This sentence made her heart rise to her throat. She had worked with Si fucking for so many years, and she thought she had a deep understanding of her artist's temperament, but often at every critical moment, her artist would always give her a big surprise. Sang Yanking said hesitantly, Ching, what certification did you update? I think we should go and say hello to Weibo first. Si fucking also remembered this important matter, oh, yes, I want to say hello, but last time I expanded their server capacity, it shouldn't crash. Sang Yanking was worried, so she contacted Weibo's programming department in person. The director of the program department woke up instantly and jumped up suddenly, okay, I see, you can send it? He immediately contacted all the programmers on the job, ready to go. At the same time, the director of the program department is also very curious about what Si fucking will update the certification to make Weibo crash again. He sat in front of the computer with a serious expression, watching Si fucking's every move. That is to say, within 10 seconds after Si fucking changed the certification, the new entry had already appeared on the hot search list. Hashtag Sci-fi update certification hashtag. This entry soared at an extremely fast speed, occupying the first position in a blink of an eye. Most of the certifications of stars are their own representative works, which are rarely updated. The old muses who have been following Si fucking since youth also know that Si fucking star certification profile is only two simple words, actor, even after she won the Glenn Best Actress Award, also remains unchanged. Why did you suddenly change the certification at this time? Is it possible that something big is going to happen? Musi came here after hearing the news, and other netizens went to watch Si fucking Weibo homepage with a mentality of eating melons. Diligent on Myoji, can come to remove spirits, please contact my agent for specific business. Good morning. On the second day of May, continue to ask for a guaranteed monthly pass. It's almost 500. One vote for you, one vote for me, all your vests will be lost. This chapter was reviewed just now. I started to think about what I wrote, it must be too much for His Majesty. After having everything taken away, she returns as a god. Author, Qing Qian. Chapter 1041. Chapter 1023 Explosion, Looking for Death, Xiaoyu protects his wife. Muses. Netizens. What on Myoji, what door-to-door exorcism? Is the world crazy, or are they opening it up in the wrong way? Yes, there are on Myojis. This is a treasure left by our ancestors, but it seems to have been in decline for a long time. Isn't it mentioned in the history books, 5,000 years ago in the tribal period, the yin-yang five elements and the yin-yang family had already appeared during the Great Xia dynasty. The Ji family deserved to be the strongest family of Onmyojis. The yin-yang and five elements in Dongzhang were still their ancestors who crossed the Great Xia. It was just passed on. The natives of Dongzhou are here, and the Ji family has come back. I met the young master of the Ji family a few days ago. He looks like a dog and is very unreliable, but he has real skills. Si fucking, as expected of you, I don't know how many surprises you have. If someone else tells me that he is an onmyoji, I will definitely pick up a book and wake him up, but the one who said this is Si fucking, the possibility has suddenly become 100%. Netizens fell silent. They found that their psychological acceptance ability has been continuously improved under the impact of Si fucking, and even their worldview has expanded a lot. If it was placed before, they would only think that Si fucking was crazy after drinking fake wine. The Weibo server has undergone Si fucking's expansion process, and this time it did not crash, but the popularity index remained high. Brothers and sisters, since all babies Ching Ching can be onmyogis can all know spells, then I said that the pictures in Changxian are all real. Who agrees and who opposes? I agree 10,000 times. Impossible. It's true that onmyoji is good at spells, but it's also impossible to be powerful enough to pull the power of heaven and earth. It can only be done by a god. It's probably half special effects and half real shots. Will anyone make an appointment to go with the promotion of Changxian? Sang Yanking, who watched all the crowd. A few seconds later, she raised her hand tremblingly, and her tone changed. This is the job you came up with? Still diligent? As expected of a crazy worker, very dedicated. Yes, Ifu tilted his chin and blinked. Hey, Sister Sang, how about I teach you 2 tricks, so you can protect yourself in the future? Sang Yanking flatly refused. I don't want it. She must stick to the bottom line and be a normal, ordinary person. Sister Sang, we still have a lot of activities to go to the West Continent, and Dong Sang Si fucking followed the temptation. These 2 places are not like the Great Xia territory, where there are many floating spirits and earthbound spirits. If we meet swimming spirits and earthbound spirits are not completely malevolent creatures, they are also part of the earth. Everything in the world has its own laws of operation, and she will not interfere. Yin-yang and 5 elements are all in balance. If one is strong and the other is out of balance, the consequences will be disastrous. Sang Yanking was silent. In the end, she still reluctantly said, okay, then I will learn 2 tricks from you. 2 days later. On the crew of The Art of the World, Bai Jinyu was leaning on a chair and reading the script. In the past 2 days, she has been running between Seata and the crew. Filming and reading made her very happy. The only thing that bothers her is that Mu Qing from Juzhong Entertainment will come to her from time to time and say something that makes her confused. And every time Mu Qing approached her, Xiaoyu would NG her more than a dozen times in the following scenes. Bai Jinyu looked at the follow-up script seriously, until the sunlight in front of her was covered by a shadow, and a voice fell from above her head. Let's go, why are you in a daze? Huh, she raised her head, a little confused. Have you finished filming today? Well, the filming is over. Xiaoyu stretched out his hand towards her. The director gave me half a day off. Do you want to play? Bai Jinyu's eyes lit up. I'm going. She likes playing the most. Xiaoyu gave a low hum, and he smiled. Let's go. Bai Jinyu patted the ashes on her body and stood up. Wait, where are you going to play? With his hands in his pockets, Xiaoyu stood tall and straight, and said lightly, you'll know when you go. 30 minutes later, the largest shopping mall in the city center. Bai Jinyu stopped in front of a claw machine, staring intently at the biggest white puppy plush toy, unable to walk. Xiaoyu naturally noticed her gaze and raised his eyebrows. Want this? Bai Jinyu nodded. I feel like this is very similar to me. No, I mean. Xiaoyu casually glanced at the white puppy pillow. It's really similar. It feels good in the hand when holding it. Xiaoyu turned around and went to the service desk to buy 100 game coins. Bai Jinyu started to coin coins to catch the doll. 20 minutes later, all the 100 coins were used up, and the doll was still very strong, showing no sign of falling. Bai Jinyu covered her mouth with tears streaming down her face. She really is a doll catcher. If you can't get it, forget it. Baijinyu fell in love with the game motorcycle on the other side, and was about to go there, when suddenly, she was enveloped by a burst of cold rose fragrance. A slender body covered her body, obviously not completely touching her body, but her back was hot. In the next second, Xiaoyu's arm came around from behind her, and his slender fingers held the button of the claw machine. The claw machine restarted, and the music started, and Baijinyu immediately forgot about other things. This way, this way. It's a bit to the left, come back. 10 seconds later, there was a ding-dong, and the doll fell down. Wow, you are so amazing, Baijinyu cheerfully lifted up the big dog, I like it so much. Xiaoyu's eyelashes drooped, and his heart beat uncontrollably. Knowing that she didn't mean anything else, he still asked, what do you like? Dog, Baijinyu said without hesitation, dogs are the cutest. Yes, she is the cutest. Xiaoyu sighed, what else do you like? Baijinyu said with satisfaction, this is enough, I won't be able to hold any more. Xiaoyu laughed, you are as good as ever. Obviously a heartless optimist, a poor little girl who would cry for a long time even if she lost a hair, but would give her all at the last moment. Xiaoyu's hands trembled, not daring to think about the battle between gods and demons 3 years ago. Baijinyu hugged the 80 centimeters tall dog in one hand, and followed Xiaoyu to the next destination. There are always many people in the central square, and she is holding a plush toy, and she will be bumped from time to time. Careful. Xiaoyu made a sound and grabbed Baijinyu's hand. Her hands were icy cold, which made him feel the biting cold. He frowned, why are your hands so cold? Maybe I'm cold, Baijinyu stammered, my hands are cold, and my stomach is hot. Let me go. Xiaoyu smiled, really? Baijinyu reacted, she was super angry and fierce, you big villain. Xiaoyu, yes. Baijinyu. This person is really shameless. The movement was too loud, which attracted the attention of others. Baijinyu gave Xiaoyu a push, go, go. There was also the sound of conversation. Was that Xiaoyu just now? It seems. Who is the girl next to him? Oh my god, he's already in a relationship? My Yogo CP is gone. No way, if it was Xiaoyu, how could he come here to catch dolls so openly? Yes, but she has a pretty good figure, and it must be good to enter the entertainment circle. The voices of the two girls gradually drifted away until they disappeared, and Baijinyu breathed a sigh of relief. She doesn't want to be on the hot search. She hesitated for a moment, then asked in a low voice, why can't they recognize you? And there are no paparazzi to take pictures of you. Xiaoyu heard her and looked down at her, want to know? Baijinyu stared at him for a few seconds, then turned her head suddenly, huh? I know you must be thinking of some way to bully me again, just wait for me to say the word, and I will know that you have similarities with Jeju without asking you way to confuse other people's eyes. If you want to cheat her, there is no way. Xiaoyu. He raised his hand and pressed his eyebrows. He did have such thoughts. Xiaoyu bent over slightly, and said in a low voice, no, you wronged me. Baijinyu stared blankly at his suddenly approaching face, and after recovering, she took a step back and covered her ears. What a male vixen, she was right, he must have given her ecstasy soup. It's still early. Xiaoyu didn't continue to tease her, and looked at the time, accompany me to the Spirit League, okay. Baijinyu was very righteous, okay, you help me catch the doll, and I will help you with whatever you want in the future. Xiaoyu heard her, and looked at her calmly, well, I remember. The two walked to the Supernatural Administration Bureau, and Baijinyu was still immersed in the joy of the big dog. I'll go to Grandpa first. Xiaoyu raised his hand and patted her head, you wait for me here, eat when you're hungry, and treat this place as your own home without any restrictions. Bai Jinyu was taken aback. Is it going to be bad? No, Xiaoyu said, this is very good. He just wanted the best for her. Okay, I'll wait for you here. Bai Jinyu picked up a piece of snack. You're busy with your work, don't worry about me, I can beat you well. She shook her fist. Xiaoyu took a deep look at her before leaving. Bai Jinyu quickly finished a plate of dim sum and rubbed her stomach. Suddenly, she felt a force swelling. With a bang, her body lightened, and when she regained consciousness, she had turned into a white puppy. What happened? How did she transform during the day? Bai Jinyu shook her head and was about to go to Xiaoyu, but her limbs felt weak and she couldn't move because she didn't have much strength. This transformation was so sudden that she was completely unprepared. She felt some kind of inexplicable force running around in her body, impacting every cell, and the pain also hit her instantly, submerging her like a tide. Bai Jinyu had no strength, so she could only lie on the ground silently, waiting for Xiaoyu to come to her. She licked her paw, sickly. What exactly is going on? At this time, footsteps sounded, mixed with the sound of conversation. Ma'am, Ms. Chu-chan has already gone to the leader's place first, the guard said. I just don't know if Mr. Yun and Chief Xie are here today. I heard that Chief Xie went out to perform another mission a few days ago. This Xie Yangkai doesn't look like a woman at all. What are you doing going out every day? You've brought Xiaoyu along, Ms. Chu said coldly. Isn't it good to be a housewife? She even let Xiaoyu take her surname. It's true, it's not a woman's way. The guard didn't dare to speak, just walked with his head down. He stopped suddenly. Ma'am, there seems to be something there. What? Ms. Chu frowned, and when she saw what it was, her expression suddenly changed. Where did the dog come from? It came to me, it's really an eyesore. She raised her foot and kicked directly at Bai Jinyu's heart. Caught off guard, Bai Jinyu was kicked. This kick is very powerful, and if it is confiscated, it will do great harm to a pixie who is only the size of a palm and has not yet recovered its strength. Bai Jinyu whimpered, and her breath also weakened. It's really bad luck. Ms. Chu stretched out the shoe in disgust, and asked the guard to wipe it with a shoe shine cloth. Who made this thing come out? Why don't you throw it away quickly? Don't you know that I hate cats and dogs the most? Bai Jinyu was still lying on the ground without moving. At this moment, she only felt that there was heat in her body, and there were many noises echoing in her ears, and broken pictures flashed before her eyes. You, this is pixie hair, it can protect you, my tail is bald, you have to feed me more gold. Juju, may you become a god. From now on, you will be invincible and the enemy will be scattered. Don't cry, I will always be with you. The voices are chaotic, and the backs are chaotic. Bai Jinyu's head was dizzy, her body temperature was rising, and she could no longer see everything around her clearly. She seemed to be trapped in multiple dreams, unable to pull herself back to her senses. Ma'am, this dog seems to be dead. The guard was stunned. Then it should. Throw it in the trash can when you die. What should I do? Ms. Chu waved her hand annoyedly. Throw it away soon, I am in a hurry to see President Yun right now. She also heard that Xiaoyu had been back to the Spirit League very frequently recently, so she brought her daughter here today, and by the way, discussed with Yunfan Xie Yangkai and his wife about their marriage. There is no time to waste with a dog that only brings infectious diseases. The guard nodded, and stepped forward to lift Bai Jinyu up and throw it away. But he fell short. The guard's eyes blurred, and when his vision was clearer, the little white dog on the ground had disappeared. Startled, he hurriedly looked up. Xiaoyu hugged Bai Jinyu, moved his fingers, and raised his head calmly. It's a you. Ms. Chu smiled. Tell me about you. You are obviously the young leader of our Spirit League. Why do you go out to act as a star every day? How much you hurt the face of our Spirit League. She took a step forward, and her tone was more cordial. Chan Chan is back today, you two grew up together, you should be more. Mrs. Chu didn't finish the rest of her words, they were all stuck in her throat. Xiaoyu locked her neck with one hand, he smiled hard and coldly, you are here to seek death. Then he abolished her. Here brother Xia, who finally stood up, asks for a monthly ticket. Xiaoyu, only my wife can make me stand up. Xiaobai is about to kill the quartet. Duyan has a lottery draw, everyone can participate.